And hello, welcome to Solo Playthroughs. We got a good one for you tonight. This is a patron challenge brought to you by Michael Wright, who has supported me at a level high enough and long enough to get his second patron challenge on the channel. Thank you, Michael, for all your support through all of these months. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about. We are doing two gearlocs today, so all you have like, Greg, you really need to play with two gearlocs. Well, this one's for you. Not gonna lie, still like True Solo a little bit better. Sorry, I think I just need to maybe play more two gearlocs, get a little bit more used to the flow of it. I just like True Solo in most of my games. However, it's very fun in Too Many Bones. Seeing the encountered variety in the general cards as opposed to the solo cards has been really nice. Some very cool experiences, but it's just a lot and it takes longer and all that stuff. And more encounters means more time me looking up freaking rules. Thank you to everyone who contributes to BGG and Reddit and Facebook and all these other assorted forums who can really try to bring some clarity because, wow, man, Too Many Bones. I love you. Chip Theory Games, I love you, but holy cow, can you just be a little bit clearer in how you write things? It's just nuts. Okay, rant over. All right, two other things I wanted to discuss. Number one is I know the audio for Stanza was bad, and I'm very sorry. So hopefully this is a lot better for you, because what I did when I realized how bad the audio was for Stanza, I figured it was time to stop messing around, and I saw the error of my ways, and I did away with my cheap mic, and I got myself a Yeti. Yeah, buddy, welcome to the Blue Yeti Nanoland, and it's a much nicer experience. Has a lot more software. Hopefully there will not be another experience where I spend 2 or 3 hours trying to equalize the sound just to make it passable. And yes, passable is probably a little generous for that Stanza playthrough, but I really appreciate how many of you watched that playthrough, gave me some feedback, left some comments, left the likes, and kind of put up with the subpar audio, because that really was a very fun playthrough. And Stanza, she's worth it, right? She's really, really cool. That does lead me to, in those comments, one of the comments was from Thomas Willinger. Thomas, thank you for pointing out that I had a rule wrong, and it might not come up today, so I do want to mention it. When the baddies do not have any attack dice or any attack skills and they don't target anybody, they will still move to the closest gearloc, and if there's a tiebreaker, they will still use the tiebreaker that's on their chip. It doesn't happen often. With Undertow, there are a couple of beast baddies that do not have any attack dice, and again, they are not really doing anything to target a gearloc. The timid geophage is one. You also have the half-wit. They will still move. I was reading a little bit too much into target and saying, well, if they're not going to be able to target anyone, why would they even move toward that person? But I guess it's like Gloomhaven when there's a disarmed monster. That disarmed monster will still move as if it is a melee attack. This is very similar. Now, melee baddies will still need a possible attack to get adjacent to the gearloc in order to move at all. That hasn't changed, but if there is a path, assuming infinite movement, the baddie will move to, even if it doesn't have anything to do once it gets there. I think most of the time it wouldn't make a difference, and even when it did, I do think that difference might actually help the gearlocs and the players more by actually getting in the way. It's going to prevent other baddies from getting adjacent to you, so you can kind of get a little bit more into the chessy nature of Too Many Bones. I also, this is like confessions with Greg today. I mean, I tell you what, confessions, tune in, real talk with Greg from Solo Playthroughs. All right, I have already filmed this once, and yeah, like there was just a lot of things that really slowed down gameplay. I was forced to look up a lot of things. I got destroyed at the end. I'm happy to put on losses on the channel, and I think they're still good entertainment. I just don't think that playthrough would have been very fun to watch. I was not having a lot of fun playing it. I ended up having to play Dangerous Darts twice, and oh, don't get me started about Dangerous Darts. Why? There are some encounters, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. Dangerous Darts is like, really? Do I really have to play it? Can I just flip a coin, please? I mean, it's probably the same thing when you really come down to it. But I digress. So I just ultimately felt that other than a couple of days that were really, really fun, it just wasn't a very good video to put on the channel. And it did inform the strategy that I'm going to try to carry out here today with our two favorite girls from Undertow, our two favorite women from Undertow, our two favorite gearlocs from Undertow, the only two gearlocs from Undertow, but they're still our favorite, even if there were more, Duster and Stanza. And of course, don't forget the pup, Nightshade. Yeah, buddy. So I was trying to do a strategy with Duster that was really developing Nightshade. I just found that against the Goblin Queen, it wasn't all that helpful because the positioning in the final battle, I really couldn't get Nightshade that involved anyway. So I was like, why? So I'm going to try to do something like I did in my solo playthrough of Duster and just really beef her up because I just think that's the best way to go. And then Stanza, I still love my diagonal here. There might be a couple different wrinkles that I'm going to try here and there, but ultimately I'm going to kind of go with what I know about these gearlocs and how I get them to work effectively. And when they work effectively for me true solo, there is that extra benefit of the synergies that they bring together. Now, not playing true solo, one of the things I realized pretty quickly is that these encounters can be very across the board as far as how many training points you're getting. And sometimes you just get a string of 1 training point encounters and it's rough. So we really want to try to get a lot of 2 training point encounters, and hopefully we can get ourselves up to 12, 13 training points by that 7th day. And if we have the 6, the math gets very advantageous for the gearlocs to actually try to attack the Goblin Queen on day 7 as opposed to day 8, and we'll kind of discuss that later. But man, I have been blabbing too much, but I hope all of that was interesting to you. And if it wasn't, I'm sorry. I hope the rest of this is more interesting for you. So let's get into it. So we're shuffling up these encounters. This is a 9-day adventure. So what are we going to do? We're going to take that 9, subtract 2, and here we are with 7 encounters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, cool. That's going to go there. Then we're going to get the Tyrant encounter. We're going to put that there. Now we have to pick our special day 1 and day 2. So I'm going to roll a d6. I have one off to the right up here. Yoink. I rolled a 6. That's really not helpful. That's a 1. So that is our day 1 encounter. Let's get our day 2 encounter. Those are the other special encounters. My bad. Let's get our day 2 encounter. I got another 1, so that will go there. And we have 10 cards here in all of its glory. That sounds great. We're going to put that there. Now, again, I do not use a cover card. Once we get down past day 1 and day 2, I will roll a die as normal to randomize from the rest of the deck because the deck is so tiny. We're going to go ahead and shuffle up the Krellin here. Only 5 of those. Not going to go 2 knots. Shuffle up the Mechs. Shuffle up the 20-point baddies. Now the Goblin Queen, she only uses the Scales baddies and the Orcs baddies. I do find that that combination is quite hard. It's a little bit harder to take out the beast and leave the other 2. The goblins can be pretty brutal, and obviously those Scales baddies are no joke. The Goblin Queen is a super interesting tyrant. She is the widow of the Goblin King. I understand she was not necessarily that upset about his untimely passing. She seems to be a little bit of a shrew, so you know, is what it is. So she has her little Goblin Queendom that she is running, and she's not too pleased with 2 women such as Stanza and Duster standing up to her. So she's going to try to bring the full nature of her wrath to bear today. Let's do some story time with Greg. Knowing the cutthroat and mischievous tendencies of her kind, the Goblin Queen forces other creatures to carry out her personal protection. Despite this, she knows the growth of goblin influence is her best chance at a true matriarchy over Daelore. With her husband now dead, she plots within the safety of her southern cave systems. Now, in order to be able to challenge her, we do need to get up to 6 progress points. And again, my goal is to do that in the first 6 days. Her tyrant die is really bad, and I really hate it. We'll discuss that later as well. All right, let's go forward. Duster starts with 3 health. Nightshade starts with 2. We will flip her over, and Stanza starts with 5. Nightshade is a female wolf, I guess. We'll go with that. Just need to shovel up the loot. Now, you notice I am going to have Duster and Stanza split the way it is. It does mean if I get a trove loot, it's not exactly going to go in the slots where it's supposed to go on the right side of Stanza, but I do like having the loot here and here. It does help let me see everything I want to do when it comes to the recovery phases, if I want to trade loot or not. Now, speaking of the recovery phases, I will try to do a better job in staying on top of the recovery phases, because I notice I do get a little sloppy at times, and I will kind of forget to scout or other things that can be super important. And once you're done with the battle, make sure that you're doing everything that you can do in the recovery phases. So I will try to do that. It becomes especially important with Duster over here, who's going to have some interesting decisions about healing herself, healing Nightshade, etc., etc. So we are going to go to day 1. What do we got? Goating the wrong way. It appears all sorts of creatures make their way in and out of the sewers. Beyond the sunlight, mechs flying overhead, and guards on the hill, a timid geophage is making its way northeast along a fairly well-concealed path. Giving the guards and drone the slip and diverting north, even for an afternoon, seems like a bad idea when the end destination lies in the opposite direction. However, who knows what kind of treasures one may find at any of the geophage's stomachs. All right, I like it. You know why I like it? It gives you 2 training points, and that makes me silly. And you know what? We're going to do something even crazier. As much as I was talking about the recovery phase, we're going to do option 1. Because, you know, I realized that the timid geophage isn't really that broad. I do have him off to the side just in case a moment like this popped up, and here we are. So totally ready with him right there. So let's do the rest of this. We're going to follow that goat. We're skipping the recovery phase, really not doing any recovery anyway. Persistent. After building the battle queue for your next battle, add the timid geophage 1 point to the top of the battle queue, and the gearlocs have surprise. Discard after use. I like to hear it. Now, bottom of the card, we're going to get 1 progress point. Let me get a die for that. Yoink. And then we're going to go ahead and take our training points. I want to give Duster 1 more piece of health, so we're going to just auto train that. And I think Duster should also bring some extra dexterity, and we're going to give Duster 1 point for that. Very simple over there. Now, Stanza. I do like Forever Mind for Stanza right off the bat in a 2-gearloc playthrough, because there's so many 1-point baddies. There's no doubt that we're going to be able to use this to our advantage. So there we go with that. And the second thing I want to do with Stanza is also increase her dex, because I think that could be helpful. So there we go. We have 2 ready gearlocs. We are going to skip the recovery phase as per the terms of the encounter we just did, and we're going to go on to day 2, settling into our adventure. Now that Opendoor is safely in the past, thoughts turn to the task of building a raft to navigate the Sabran. Chopping down trees is tiring, Splinter getting work, but the sounds of loud quarreling nearby reveal a simpler option. A group of unsuspecting barbarians with piles of stolen resources strewn about their camp. Brick, lumber, grain, ore, and wool. So much wool! At the moment, the entire group is puzzling over how to build a catapult from 2 wood and 3 brick. Taking on the whole group is doable, but perhaps a little tough. If we make some subtle noises from the tree line, maybe we can lure a few of them away and search for a robber who might steal from their stash at random. 2 options here. The distraction worked, or forget the distraction. The longest road always leads to victory. We're going to attack them all. Great. We're each going to get a treasure if we succeed, and we're going to get 2 training points. I am choosing option B, just like that. Now, we're going to have to set the battle queue. We are on this side of the map, so no rafts just yet. We're going to put the round 1 marker there. And the battle queue is what? Well, it's going to be 4 1-point baddies, because it is 2 gearlocs times day 2. We have 4. I'm telling you, people, advanced math on this channel all the time, bringing it. Just consider me your math tutor in life. That is totally correct. So we're going to take these 4 1-point baddies. On top of that, we're going to add what? Well, the timid geophage. Did not forget about him. And we also have the benefit of surprise, meaning that both Stanza and Duster are going to be in front of all the other baddies. We're going to roll them first. They get a 4 and a 3, but again, they have surprise, so we'll put them right there. Now, timid geophage. The timid geophage has an any die of 2. Going to put that there. Timid geophage has 6 health. It's going to need the lane 1 marker. There we go. And we're going to put that in the melee position in lane 1. The next baddie. Oh, always. Well, we have surprise, so could be worse. The Goblin Broadcaster. Goblin Broadcaster has an any die of a 6. He's like, I should be first. Nope, you're nuts. I have surprise. So he's going to go in the range position on lane 2. Then we have the next one is the Dragon Biddy. Weaken 1. Not so great. It's going to have the lane 3 marker. Oops, my bad. Messed that up a little bit. So the lane 3 marker is here. We got 3 health. And this Dragon Biddy is going to go there in the melee position in lane 3. I see all these dragons and I always assume they're going to be ranged, and I'm like, they're all melee. Okay, that's fine. I like melee dragons more than ranged dragons. No offense to any of you ranged dragons out there. And now we have a plated kobold that has 3 health, and it's going to go in the melee position in lane 4. So not a ton to be scared about here. I have 2 more dice I have to put out there. We got any die of a 4 for the Dragon Biddy and an any die of a 2 for the plated kobold, which is going to go after the timid geophage. So Stanza's turn first, but perhaps it'll be easier to have Stanza have a turn if she's on the battle mat. Always thinking, that's what I'm doing, people. So the real question is, am I going to try to kill this geophage or not? Never. The timid geophage comes in. It's got a couple of weird things going on it. It has a treasure. So if we kill it, we put a treasure die on the board. And then on our turns, we can spend 1 dex to actually roll the treasure die and see what we get. Now, the geophage doesn't attack. The only bad thing about it is it flees at the end of round 2 and round 5, and it just goes to the defeated baddie stack. Nothing bad happens when it flees if you don't have any loot. If you have loot, the closest gearloc to it has to give up one of their loots. But obviously, again, this is day 2. There is no loot that we have to worry about. So I am going to put Stanza next to the plated kobold because I just don't know how realistic it is to get 6 points of attack on that timid geophage, but we'll see. And then I'm going to put Duster up in here. Yeah, I'll put Duster up here, and we'll see if I want to try to wipe that sucker out this round. Okay, so Stanza is going to go. Stanza is going to roll her luitar die at the beginning of battle. We have a focus of a 3. That's all we're going to need for this battle with only 1 song playing. Now remember, Stanza has 4 decks. At the beginning of her turn, she is going to start Forever Mine. Now that's going to take up 1 of her 4 decks. She'll have 3 decks remaining. So we're going to put it in the first stanza of that song. And now she's immediately going to be able to take a turn for a 1-point baddie. Hardy's a funny skill, and it dawned on me really like several plays into stanza, like an embarrassing number of plays into stanza, that because Forever Mine is actually taking a full turn for a baddie, it's a really good weapon against Hardy because you can have the baddie attack the other baddie that has Hardy. It's like I can have the Goblin Broadcaster attack the plated kobold, reduce a damage on the Goblin Broadcaster's additional turn, and then on the rest of Stanza's turn, I can then attack the plated kobold myself and knock another damage off of it. So that's a really, really nice weapon against these kobold baddies that can be really, really frustrating to deal with, especially in a true solo or a 2-gearloc game, right? But instead, I want to make sure that that dude is out because I really don't want to deal with that signal. So we're going to move the Dragon Biddy 2. Hopefully the Dragon Biddy will not bones out here. Dragon Biddy is attacking. Oh! No! That's really frustrating. So, yeah, bones. But it weakens. What that means is weaken when you apply it to a unit that does not have dex. It just means that their attack value is going to be 1 less. So the Goblin Broadcaster is actually not going to attack, but it does have signal, and that's really annoying. So I got to figure out if I want to deal with that or not. Well, let me look at this. So Stanza still has 3 decks, right? So let's try to wipe out this broadcaster anyway. So Stanza's going to move 1, 2. She has 1 dex left, and she is going to try to kill the broadcaster herself. She rolls. I bones out again. Yowza. All right. Well, that's a thing. It's going to be one of those days, kids. Just it's what it is. All right, let's go to Duster's turn. Can Duster do any better? Duster is going to try to kill this timid geophage. Why not? I'm due to roll something that's not a bones. Duster has 4 decks. Is going to roll these 2 dice and a defense die. So maxing out her attack and her defense values. Dropped one a little early there, but it was a 2 damage and a 1 damage, and we got a bone, so that will do. We're going to do 3 damage to the timid geophage. Very nice, down to half of its health. And maybe we can take care of it before it leaves at the end of round 2. We're now going to go to whose turn is the broadcaster's turn. The broadcaster signals. We add another 1-point baddie to the end of the battle queue. It doesn't attack because it was weakened by the Dragon Biddy, but it will roll a defense die. What does it get? It bones us out. I mean, it's just a bones extravaganza today, kids. All right, that is done. Who do we go to next? Well, the timid geophage, it would move toward a gearloc, but it's adjacent to 2. It's just going to roll a defense die. It gives itself 1 shield. That might be a problem if we're trying to get 3 more damage on it by the end of next round. What's after the timid geophage? Well, it is the plated kobold. Plated kobold is going to attack Stanza with 1 attack die and 1 defense die. Boom. It bones down on the attack, but it does get 1 shield. That is the end of round 1. At the end of the round, there are no baddies that can join because we still have 4 baddies on the playing mat. Oh, I did forget to move the dragon biddy. Dragon biddy would have moved here on that last turn. I was like, I feel like I forgot something. Yeah, that's right. So the biddy would have gone after the broadcaster. Now what's up? We're going to go back to Stanza. Stanza on the beginning of her turn is going to advance the Forever Mine song with 1 of her decks. She still has 3 decks remaining. Think we're going to try to go back and take care of this broadcaster again with the dragon biddy. 1, 2. It's going to roll 1 die. It bones. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so impossible. That's really nuts. Stanza has 3 more decks. Stanza is going to roll 1 attack die, 1 defend die, and let's see what's up. Stanza did it finally, but guess what? She bones out on her defense. I mean, too many bones is for real. We are putting the too many bones and too many bones here. It is absolutely bananas what is happening. So the broadcaster is out. Put that over here, and that lane marker became available. So we're going to put that under the next baddie at the top of the battle queue, which is nice. Broadcaster is done. Put that die over here. We're going to go to Duster's turn. I don't think we're going to be able to do enough damage to this geophage to really try to get that treasure. Would have been more interesting had I been able to use Forever Mine against it and things like that. So I think I'm going to give up on that endeavor at this point, and let's try to take care of the plated kobold maybe. So we're going to move 1, 2. Duster has 2 more decks. We just spent 2 of it on movement, so we're just going to roll 2 attack dice and see if we can't start dealing with this hardy skill, because that could be a problem otherwise. We rolled, bones it, and we removed the defense die. I mean, it's amazing. We're going to go with the Dragon Biddy. Dragon Biddy is going to head towards Stanza because that is the closest gearloc. Moves 1. It's going to roll 1 attack die. It's also going to weaken poor Stanza. So she's going to have 1 less dex next turn. Not a huge deal. Then we're going to roll this attack die. Will it bones? It does 1 damage to good old Stanza. Move that out over here. We go to the timid geophage. It won't move. It's already adjacent to a gearloc. It won't roll a defense die. It already has a defense die on top of it. And now we go to the plated kobold. The plated kobold is going to attack the weakest. The weakest is the fewest health points remaining. They both have 4. I do want the kobold to attack Duster so I can get Nightshade on the board. So we're going to have the plated kobold attack Duster, rolling the defense and the attack die. It gets its 1 shield back, and we do 1 damage to Duster. End of the round. What are we doing? Well, we're going to have Nightshade come in at the top of the any meter for round 3. And then since we have 1 open lane, we're going to put the next 1-point baddie in play. What is it? It is the Goblin Devastator. The Goblin Devastator is going to go in the melee position in lane 2. Oh, that's full. So we got to go to 1. Well, 1's full. 3 is not full. So there we go with the Devastator. Gonna line up right there. Where can I put Nightshade? Well, I put Nightshade wherever I want on a gearloc melee position, because Nightshade is considered a melee unit. And now Nightshade is going to go ahead and go first. We're going to have Nightshade attack. Oh, I'm sorry. At the end of round 2, this also would have left. So the timid geophage is out. I'm not going to put this in the baddie stack again because the goblin doesn't use the beast type baddies. So we're just going to take that out of the game. We're going to have this lane marker over here. This will do. And we're going to put the next baddie on the board. This baddie is going to go on the board in a melee position. Oh, shoot. So that's interesting. So this would have gone on the board in the melee position in lane 1 because lane 2 is full. Now this is the one with the lane 1 chip. It is a goblin mutant. That's going to go on the board in the melee position in lane 3, which is all fine. So the Goblin Mutant is only attacking with 1. It has a Mischief 1, so that's totally gonna work. We're gonna now have Nightshade go here instead of here. The Nightshade is gonna actually roll her 2 attack dice against the Goblin Devastator. We do 2 damage. So the Devastator is down to 1 health. We're now going to go to Stanza's turn. Stanza is going to use one of her 3 decks. Remember, the weakened die goes from 4 to 3. So we have 3 decks left. We're going to advance the song Forever Mine. We're going to move the Devastator up toward the Dragon Baddie. At the end of the movement of the Devastator, Detonate 2 is going to go into play. So the Devastator is going to blow itself up and do 2 true damage to the Dragon Baddie. The lane 2 chip can come out, and the lane 2 any die can come over here. The lane 1 any die would be at the end of the any meter because that baddie just joined the battle. So that will go after the plated kobold. Now Stanza has 2 decks left. She's going to try to finish off this Dragon Baddie. She's going to roll the 1 defense die and her 1 attack die with her last 2 decks. Remember, we can reduce how many decks she was working with. And what do we get? Bones and bones. This is really amazing. Stanza's turn is done. Duster is just confused as to what is happening with all the bones and bones. Duster, I think, is just going to attack the plated kobold. It has 4 decks, so we're going to roll 2 attack dice, 1 defend die. Here we go. Can we please break through? Hey, no bones. 1 defense die for Duster. Is going to go in the active slot. 2 damage to the kobold, removes its shield, does 1 damage to it, and that's all we can do anyway because of the hardy skill. Duster is done. The Dragon Baddie is like, I'm still alive? How do you keep rolling bones? And Stanza's like, I don't know. Because Stanza talks like that too. I don't know why their voices are so similar. It's very strange. We're going to put the weakened die back on Stanza, and then the Dragon Baddie is going to attack Stanza. And 2 damage. Hey, if I had actually rolled a non-bones and a defense die, that might have been helpful. So Stanza is down to 2 health. We are now going to go to the kobold. The kobold is going to attack the weakest. Well, unfortunately, that is Stanza. The kobold, oh, Stanza might be not long for this world. The kobold is attacking with 1 attack die and 1 defense die. I can really use the bones now. It is not, so that is 1 damage, and the plated kobold gets a 1 shield back. And here we go with the Goblin Mutant coming in here, and now it attacks the strongest. So we're actually okay. It's going to attack Nightshade. It's going to have mischief. Obviously, Nightshade doesn't have any dice in its active area, so we don't have to worry about that. And hopefully the Goblin Mutant doesn't roll a 2. It bounces. That's what I'd like to see. That is the end of round 3. Let's go to round 4. So Nightshade is going to try to put on a world of hurt on this Goblin Mutant. So Nightshade's not going to move. It's just going to attack with 2 dice. We do 3 damage. That's what I'm talking about, Nightshade. That's 3 damage. Goblin Mutant is out. Get out. Any die can come out. Mutant's going to go in the defeated baddie stack, and these will go over here. By the way, it just dawned on me, speaking of the defeated baddie stack, the rules for Flea say to put this in the defeated baddie stack, so I guess it just is in the game for the rest of the game, and that's fine. Someone can tell me the rules if that's just totally wrong, because we probably will be shuffling up that stack at some point. Considering the rules say to put it in, I guess it's just part of the game from here on out, and that will totally work for me. Back to the regularly scheduled program, Nightshade did a really wonderful job of attacking there. We're going to go to Stanza. Unfortunately for Stanza, Forever Mine, it doesn't have any more stanzas. So when there's no more stanzas, all we can do is vamp Forever Mine. Now, if it had another stanza, chances are, looking at the rest of Stanza songs, it would have required 4 focus, and our focus die was up to 3. And remember, we didn't do anything with these bones to add to focus because there was really no point to, so I didn't. So here we are. Stanza is weakened, so Stanza actually has 3 more decks left. Do I want to try to save her? No, she's going to go down swinging because she can. So she's going to roll 1 attack die, 1 defend die. I got a couple of things I could do here. So I'm going to roll this 1 attack and 1 defense die against the Dragon Baddie. I kind of wouldn't mind a bones. No bones for me. So 2 damage, 1 shield for Stanza. She might be able to live through this after all. This die goes here, lane marker, Dragon Baddie in the defeated baddie stack, and then this goes here. Duster's turn. Duster is going to attack the plated kobold. It's got 2 attack dice, 1 defend die, is already in the active slots, so we cannot roll another one. See if we can't make some magic here. You know what? I want to mine a Fortune of Discovery. I love Blade Dip. I'm a huge sucker for it. And a day where I can't get it is super sad. So I'm going to try to just roll some extra bones here to get that. So I'm going to take that die out like you can. I'm going to roll these 3 dice using 3 of my 4 decks. I do 2 damage. That removes the defense die. I remove the max of 1 health that I can. And I'm going to put this shield back in my active slot. The plated kobold is going to stay where it is. It's attacking the weakest gearloc, which is adjacent. So that's going to be Stanza. Stanza's no longer weakened, so we can take that down. So we're rolling 1 attack dice and 1 defend dice against Stanza. 1 damage. Her shield's going to come out, and the 1 defend goes back on the plated kobold. We are going to go to round 5, people. Now, Nightshade's like, look, I can't get close to this thing to attack it, but I'm going to try. So Nightshade's going to move 2 up there, and that's the end of Nightshade's turn. Stanza, at the beginning of her turn, is going to just exhaust Forever Mine. There's really no point to do anything with it. And then Stanza is going to attack with 1 attack die, and it's going to roll 1 more defend die, because those are the max values. So we get a bones. We do a damage. Oh, I wish I had 1 more bones, actually. I could be dramatic and do a luitar smash here, and that could be super fun. But I do want to give Duster a chance to potentially roll 2 bones. So I'm just going to apply the 1 damage to the plated kobold and just remove its defense die. And that is going to have to do. And now it's all up to Duster. Duster's rolling 2 attack die, 1 defense die. I would love a bones and a 1 attack. Make it happen. To actually make it happen, I do need to remove that 1 defense die that was already in my active slots. Bam! Oh, so close. 1 bones and 2 damage, so we killed the plated kobold. It was going to die at the beginning of the next round anyway, because we were about to enter fatigue rounds, but that is really sad. I was 1 bones away from having my innate +1 with Stanza, which is huge, and I was 1 bones away from having my Blade Dip with Duster, so both of those make me a wee bit sad, but that was a nice round. Went through 6 1-point baddies, including our timid geophage, and now everyone can come back to the mat. Duster still has 3 health, Nightshade has 2 health, Stanza has 1 health. With the luitar die back, I'm going to put Forever Mine back, and we take all of these bones out of the backup plan slots for both of them. So many bones, so little to show for it. What a sad, sad day. So what are we going to get, though? We're going to get 1 loot for each of them. So ding, here you go, bananas. Heal yourself for hit points equal to the current round. Fatigue round equals 5. Like to see that. And night vision goggles. Shuffle the special encounter, the Ebonite doorway, into your encounter deck if it has not already been added. Let's go ahead and just do that before we forget. So the Ebonite doorway will become one of the things we might potentially roll for when we start rolling for encounters. Great. We are going to get 1 progress point. So we are at 2 of the 6 that we're going to need. And now we have 2 training points. Duster is like, I love my dagger. Yeah, buddy. And I'll take an extra health. I do really want to pump up health pretty hard, especially against the Goblin Queen. I just find her die to be super punishing. If you roll well with your any die in the final battle here, not always the greatest place for you to be, but I will discuss that more later. So Duster's health is up to a 5, and that is fine. So only 4 health so far, but we can heal that if we so choose, or we can choose to have Nightshade just start the battle mat with us. I might be inclined to do that, but let me think about that. In the meantime, we're going to go to Stanza. Stanza has 2 training points to spend herself. Stanza is going to try to increase her attack stat because 1 is just not enough. So I have to roll 1 attack die, did not roll the bones. So here we go. We get a 1 in the attack die slot. Other than that, it's going to make some sense to have another song. So let's do Under the Old Self-Free. right there. Don't mind that quick buff HP we can get in the first round with Stanza. So that is done. We got everything on this card. We go to the recovery phase. Duster is gonna go. Duster is not gonna recover any hit points. Instead, Duster's gonna choose to let's scout. I rolled a 4. Lets me scout a 5-point baddie. Ooh, the juvenile delinquent. Bleed, careless 1, any dive of 4. Nasty, nasty. 3 attack dice, 2 shield. I tell you what, I will keep it only because I don't want to face it later, and we'll see about that if that's a good decision or not. But I think getting that out of that stack now is pretty huge. Remember, day 3, if it's a battle, we're probably going to have 6 points, and if we have 6 points, we're looking at just the Dragon Juvenile and a 1-point baddie. So it might be more strategic to leave that thing there, especially when I know Nightshade's going to come out on the mat with me. Could put us in a good spot to do some damage really quick on that Dragon Juvenile. Stanza needs to get back to full health. So here we go. She's back to 5. That's done. Now let's get to day 3. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 encounters here. I'm going to roll a D8. I'm sorry, a D10, because D8 wouldn't help with 9 encounters. I'm going to roll a D8 and wonder why I never roll for the Tyrant encounter. Here we go. I rolled a 7. I promise you that's a D10. So 1, 2, here we go. This would be number 7. I always count from the bottom card up to the top because I'm weird. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, encounter, feeling bloated. You know what I could go for? Some bloatfish. The sarcasm is thick as a bog frog's skin as we settle in for another meal of the most common and worst tasting fish in Daelore. Beyond the rare snacks and herbs we've periodically foraged, we've subsisted on almost nothing but bloatfish as of late. They're tough to swallow when fresh, and when stored for a day or two, well, they bloat and reek. A flock of low-flying cacklers overhead present the perfect alternative. If the worst that can happen is a few weapons or arrows lost, it's so worth it. All right, so no battle today. Painfully bloated. Each gearloc gains 4 buff HP. We place a poison 2 effect on each gearloc for the next battle. Place these in the prep area as a reminder. That's a little rough. Or we could shoot down a cackler, set up a number of cacklers, stack of 2 health chips equal to party size on any position. Each gearloc may roll all their attack dice against a cackler. If the roll doesn't defeat the cackler, that gearloc cannot use those attack dice during the next battle. For each defeated cackler, gain 2 buff HP. Party may distribute as desired. It cannot success to achieve no matter what the outcome. Well, that's bananas. And we've all seen my propensity to roll bones here. I can't go in battle without attack dice. We're just going to have to deal with the poison effect. I had the bananas. I'm going to get more buff health from the old self-free. Hopefully there's nothing that's going to poison us or anything. And I think that's going to be the best choice. Although the bleed, that bleed's going to be no joke either. I will have a recovery phase, so I could heal Duster back up. I get 2 more training points. I give them both a health. I'm going to want to do that eventually. Anyway, I think that'll work. All right, so painfully bloated. Each gearloc gains 4 buff HP. Put that on their prep area. We're going to get 1 progress point, and we are fortunate again to get 2 more training points. I'm going to increase Duster's health, get that up to 5. We're increasing Stanza's health, get that up to 6. And 1 more training point here. Stanza is going to increase her dex. She now has 2 songs, 2 attack dice, and a defense, so a dex of 5 will be helpful. Now going back to Duster, I'm going to try to train that attack stat while we're here. So the first point before I got the health up, let me just kind of show that, and then we'll do this in order. So my first training point, I'm going to roll 2 attack dice. I did not roll a bones, so that's nice. So we have an extra attack stat. Now, I might not be able to use it every turn next round, but having that option will be helpful. And now, because I know I'm going to have a poison 2 die on me, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to give myself that extra health. In the recovery phase, Duster is going to fully heal itself, so it does mean Nightshade will not start on the mat, but that will work with the poison die, and let me put the poison 2 die on both of them so I do not forget what is going on there. So we're at day 3. It is over. We move to day 4, right on target. Let's see what happens here. So we have 8 encounter cards left, so I'm going to get rid of the D10. Let's roll a D8. I rolled a 4. Amalgamac. Get out of the way! Steel and cables spring to life and a mechanical giant emerges from the woods. It doesn't move well. It clatters and jerks and clanks as it attempts to get into an attack position. This is easily the largest mech we've seen. Spot wheels and poorly connected cables somehow hold what looks like several smaller mechs together as a single entity. A panel on the ground behind this BattleBot seems to be connected to both the mech itself and a nearby cast iron door sporting a massive lock. But it's of no matter if we can't take this thing out first. The behemoth looks like it could fall apart at a moment's notice, but for now, it's intact and heading toward us. Oh no! Alright, let's knock it down a peg. The battle queue is half baddie points rounded up. So that is only 4, right? Because it's 8, because it's 2 gearlocs on day 4. Rounded up is still 4, because, 8 is divisible by 2. And add Amalgamac. See below on lane 1 baddie range position on battle mat, use lane marker. To build an Amalgamac, randomly stack the number of mechs equal to the party size. I have never seen this before, so stay tuned. We're going to add hit points equal to only the topmost hit point stat and use this unit's any for Amalgamac for the remainder of the battle. So in lane 1 range baddie position, we're putting this mech. All right, it is the Mech Hound, has swap and disruption. Oh, that doesn't make me happy. So 3 health for this sucker. It's going to go in the lane 1 range position with a range 1 marker. We take these out and this out. We put Nightshade back where Nightshade belongs. We're not going to see it for a sec. And seeing Mechs with my bleed die, well, doesn't make me all that happy. As a side note, so each time the topmost mech is defeated, reveal and add hit points to the newest topmost mech. Amalgamac is treated as a mech with multiple lives, evolving as each entity is defeated. If successful, party may find special encounter, council labs, research and development, and place it on top of the encounter deck. If we succeed, we're going to get 2 loot each and just 1 training point, which doesn't make me that excited, but it could be good. So the mini die for the Amalgamac is going to be a 3, and that is in lane 1. And we're going to have 4 1-point baddies because that is the rest of the baddie queue. So the next 1-point baddie is the Goblin Devastator. This is a lane 2 marker. It's going to have 3 health. It is a melee baddie. The next one is the Cobalt Collector. It's going to have the lane 3 marker. It has 3 health, but it also has equipment. So we're going to roll this die and see what its equipment is. Oh, it's gonna have a sharpening stone. So it has another attack die to go along with it. So that's gonna go here. That attacks 2 gearlocs if 2 are adjacent. However, if it's already adjacent to 1, it will not move to get adjacent to a second, even if it could. We have the Goblin Broadcaster, because of course we do. Dude always finds a way to get it every one of my battles. There's only 2 in the stack, but I swear there's 7. Just like they always seem to show up. And that's going to go right there with an any die of a 6. So the Devastator has an any die of a 4 in lane 2. That's before the Amalgamac. And we have the Collector has an any die of a 3. That swap ability is pretty gnarly for the Amalgamac. So we'll see how we can deal with that. We are going to have to also put 2 defense on the Amalgamac because that is its starting defense. It does not have self-repair, however, so once we get through that defense, we are good to go. I'm going to put Duster anywhere I want on the board. Who do I want to make bleed? Well, before I put Duster and Stanza on the board, we're going to go ahead and we're going to roll their any dice. We got a 4 and a 3 for Duster. That's a really bad roll for Duster. Yikes. Don't love that. Duster can go anywhere, but I don't know if she wants to go anywhere that she rolled that. However, she would still act before the amalgamech, and she would act before the collector. I don't want to let this dude attack, because disruption, if it rolls a bones and out of its attack dice, is really bad. We go immediately to fatigue rounds. That could be really, really bad for us, especially since we're adding more baddies to the queue with the broadcaster. So I just don't want to mess with that. I'm going to put Duster here. No, I got to get Duster out of it. I'm going to put Duster here. So I can put Duster anywhere. I'm going to put Stanza here. After the amalgamech goes, it will trade with the closest, strongest gearloc with swap. So that gets super interesting. If you actually take a turn for the mech that has swap, then it's the closest, strongest baddie, because it's the opposing unit at the time where it's actually triggering swap if you choose to trigger that skill. That's a really interesting thing about the swap skill and Stanza, how she works with Forever Mine. So I'm going to go ahead right now and start the turn for round 1 with Stanza. Stanza takes 2 true damage because of her poison. Rough. Stanza has 5 decks. She's going to use 1 dex to start under the old Selfree, which gives her another stack of buff HP. And then she's going to go ahead and she's going to start the first stanza of the song Forever Mine. Make sure I have the 1 there. And we're going to take a turn for a level 1 baddie. That happens immediately. I'm going to move the Cobalt Collector up to the amalgamech. The Cobalt Collector is rolling 2 dice. 2 damage, which takes off all the defenses from the amalgamech, which makes me happy. Remember, I cannot use things like bleed on the mech, and they're immune to a lot of effects. They don't take any damage in fatigue rounds. So being able to get the defense off and really just open it up just to keep getting attacked by attack dice will be nice, especially because I will probably finish on the board next turn because, again, the poison 2 with Duster right now. So the poison 2 die does become a poison 1 die before I forget about that. We have 3 decks left with Stanza's turn. Now I get a better idea. Stanza's going to start here. If that's what I'm going to do with Stanza, where am I starting? You know, I'll have Stanza start here. She takes that turn for the Cobalt Collector, cuts off the mech that way, and then I can attack. And he's going to have my 2 attack dice. I will be taking an attack of 2, but I have this 5 buff HP, so I think that all makes some sense. So I just kind of changed where Stanza stood. Some people are like, you changed what you did. Yes, I did. Stanza was first. I could have thought about it some more, but I try to play fast for you. I have 3 decks left. I have 2 attack dice and 1 defense die. I don't know if I would even apply all 3 of these dice if I roll 3 damage here, because I'm not sure I want to open up for that mech. Whatever I could do to make sure that mech hound does not disrupt things, the better. So we're going to roll these 3 dice. I do 2 damage. I get my first bones. Oh, I have to roll my luitar die, by the way. I rolled a 4. So I only used half my focus with that. So that didn't matter. Oh, the one thing I forgot to do too is I healed fully with Duster. In the recovery phase, I could have scouted with Stanza. Stanza was already at full health. Again, this is my day 3 recovery phase. I rolled a 2. I would have scouted a level 1 baddie, but obviously all the baddies are on the board, so it doesn't matter. We get 1 defense die for Stanza, and we do 2 damage to the collector. So that dude is down to 1. That works for me. We're going to go to the first baddie, number 6. The broadcaster is going to signal 1, and then it's going to attack the weakest gearloc. The weakest gearloc on the board so far is Stanza, because she already took the 2 true damage from the poison 2. So the broadcaster is attacking with 1 attack die, rolling 1 defense die. It gets 1 shield, it does 1 damage to Stanza. Stanza is going to take off 1 of her buff HP. Nope, before you get the buff HP, Stanza is going to take out her shield. So you do shield before you get to the buff HP. That is done. We now go to the next turn, which is the Goblin Devastator. Goblin Devastator is already adjacent to Duster, so the Goblin Devastator doesn't move. It has its full health, so it's not going to do its detonate 2. It's rolling 1 attack die, 1 defense die to Stanza. Will it roll a bones? It does not. Instead, it gives itself a shield, 1 damage to Stanza. Stanza takes 1 of the buff HP and loses that. So now we go to Duster's turn. Please bear with me. If I say Duster and I mean Stanza, or Stanza with me and Duster, hopefully You'll figure it out from context. It's one of the reasons that true solo playthroughs are a bit easier for this kind of thing, but that is totally fine. So Stanza, I just did it. Duster is going to take 2 damage because of the poison die. That becomes a poison 1. And now Duster is going to try to knock out the broadcaster, I think, before it keeps doing the signal thing. Or I could try to do damage to the Devastator, and then I could take a turn for the Devastator with Stanza and then have the Stanza wipe out the broadcaster, which is probably smarter. We're going to do that. So Duster is going to take its 3 attack dice and its 1 defend die and use all 4 of its decks here. And it's going to roll against the Devastator. So roll that up. I did 3 damage. I have 2 shield, did not roll any bones. So this shield comes out and the Devastator is down to 1 health, which is totally fine with me. We're now going to go to the Mech's turn. Amalgamech is going to move 2, 1, 2, and it's going to swap. It's going to swap with the closest, strongest unit. So closest, strongest. Closest is the first decision point, and then it would be strongest. Closest and strongest is the same in this case, but it would still be Stanza either way. We have this swap just like that, which isn't bad. Doesn't really change anything in this instance. And now we have the collector's turn. The collector is going to roll 2 dice. Again, normally it would be 1. It's now 2 because of the sharpening stone. And it's going to roll 1 defense die against Stanza. And it rolls 2 bones on both of its attack dice. Wow, that's lucky. And then 1 shield right here. That is the end of round 1. No baddies were defeated, so we add nothing to the mat. However, Duster is not at full health, so we are going to get our friend Nightshade into the action. Nightshade's going to go right there next to the Mech Hound. Might be a little bit sacrificial on Nightshade's part. I'm very sorry, pup. But desperate times, desperate measures, all of that is how this goes. So what are we going to do now? I do want to wipe out that broadcaster before its signal goes forward again. So I just think that makes the most sense. Stanza is going to go. It's going to take 1 poison because of the poison 2 die, which went to a poison 1 die. Is now a poison doesn't exist anymore die. With the under the old self-free die, we're just going to vamp that. And then we're going to send 1 dex to advance the Forever Mind die. I'm going to take a turn as the Goblin Devastator. Goblin Devastator moves. It blows up. It does 2 damage to all adjacent units. Again, only orthogonal adjacency matters in too many bones for the most part. And that's going to be enough to kill the Goblin Broadcaster. Now the Devastator exploded first, so the lane 2 marker is open. We're going to put that under the top baddie on the baddie queue, and then we're going to put the lane 4 marker on the bottom baddie on the baddie queue, and both of them will go into the defeated baddie stack. Now, Stanza still has 4 decks. So remember, vamping this song here, it does require that 1 focus, but does not go toward the overall amount of decks that we have for Stanza. So that's not a big deal at all. She is going to try to take out this collector. So that would be helpful. Let me remove the 2 dice for the 2 baddies that were just defeated. Put them over there. And Stanza is going to roll 2 attack dice, 1 defend die against the collector. And let's see what we can get here. Now, change of plans. Stanza has 4 decks left, right? So Stanza is going to move down. Now she's only 2 attack dice and 1 defend die against the Mech. Right. Before Stanza went, Nightshade should have gone first. Sorry, Nightshade's on the board. I just forgot to take a turn for it. Nightshade's going to roll 2 dice against the Mech Hound. That was obvious. 4 damage. Holy cow. Okay, so Nightshade's on fire right now, so the Mech would have been defeated first. Doesn't change available lane ability though, because again, we still have another Mech there. The next Mech is the Mech Swarm, which comes in with 4 health, and it has a defense die of a 1. So we absolutely would be attacking this with Stanza. So the Mech Swarm against self-repair 1 and has assault. It's going to attack you with as many dice that's equal to its health at the time, so that could be pretty nasty. We don't move them any die, right? I mean, this is where it is. Amalgamech comes in, that's as any die. Now we're gonna go for the rest of Stanza's turn, where she's rolling 2 attack dice and 1 defend die, and we'll see what happens if we can cut down the rest of Amalgamech down to size. Bam. Oh, that's not a good roll. It's really bad. So we get one defense die. That one attack die, all it does is remove this defense die from the mech swarm. And that's not great. That could have gone better. At least we got half of Amalgam Mech out of the way. We're going to go now to Duster's turn. Duster is going to take 1 damage because of the poison. The poison die comes off Duster as well. And now Duster is going to try to finish off this collector, is going to move 1. It has 3 decks left. It already has a defense die in the active slot. Clearly not going to care about that right now. It's going to roll these 3 attack dice. Only need 2 attack to go through. We got 3 and a bones, and we will knock this out. So no more baddies in the baddie queue that don't have a lane marker assigned. So that's fine. We're going to look ahead now. And Amalgam Mech attacks the gearloc next to it that is the weakest. Right now, that is Nightshade. I do not want Nightshade to take that attack, so I'm going to use my backup plan here, Pack Mentality, and I get to move Nightshade to a spot that's adjacent to Duster or vice versa. But I think that is a good spot for Nightshade, and will give some really nice flexibility for Nightshade to go ahead and attack the new baddies that are going to join us in round 3. Amalgam Mech is still alive as the mech swarm. Amalgam Mech is going to attack Stanza with 4 dice. Its self-repair is going to trigger, so now it has a defense die back, 4 dice. Don't forget that Stanza has 1 defense die and it has 5 buff HP still on its prep area. And the nice thing about this version of Amalgam Mech as opposed to the previous mech is that we don't have to worry about disruption as a possibility. So rolling these 4 attack dice against Stanza, we did 6 damage. So shield comes off and all 5 buff HP goes away. Heck of a roll for Amalgam Mech. We go to round 3. We're going to get the last 2 baddies onto the board. The next baddie is the Goblin Dabbler. Goblin Dabbler is coming into the melee position in round 2. Oh, that's full. So it's going to go into the melee position in round 1. And then we have the Dragon Biddy. It's going to go to the melee position in lane 4. That will work. 3 damage, weaken 1. We've already seen one of them here today. This has any die of a 1, and this also has any die of a 1. It's not really their any die. They just come into the bottom of the any meter. So we're just going to set that at a 1 for visual purposes. We're now going to go forward with Nightshade. Nightshade is going to try to deal with this Goblin Dabbler. So Nightshade's going to move over. It's rolling 2 attack dice. Let's see if we can't take care of this dude. Bam, 4, 2 and 2. Nightshade is on fire. Take Nightshade to a craps table and do it now. That was freaking awesome. So that dude is dead. Thank you very much, Nightshade. You're the best. I love you. Doggy treats all night. I'm not a dog. I'm a wolf. I know you get those treats too. Great. Stanza. Stanza is going to re-intro under the old self-free, which is going to give 1 buff HP under the prep area. And then Stanza is going to advance Forever Mine, which means I could take a turn for a level 5 unit. So I could take a turn for the Mech Swarm. That seems like a bad idea. Instead, we're going to take a turn for the Dragon Biddy. We're going to attack with 1 die. We're also going to weaken the mech. However, mechs, I believe, are immune to weaken. Yes, they are, so that's not going to matter. Otherwise, we could have reduced its attack stat. It's not going to matter, but let's get some damage on it, or at least get that shield off there. So Stanza can with the rest of her 3 decks. So the dragon is attacking with 1 die. It does 1 damage. That shield comes off. It's the rest of Stanza's turn. Stanza has 3 decks left because, again, it introed 1 song, advanced another song. We're going to roll her max attack stat and her 1 defense stat. And here we go. Can we do something good? No, bonesing like crazy, people. That's not great. We do 1 damage, and we're gonna kind of hopefully leave the rest up to Duster. I'm super close to some cool things again with my backup plan here, so we'll see how that plays out. And now we're going to go to Duster's turn. Duster has 4 decks, is going to move with the first decks here, and it is the most important thing, I think, to get rid of the Amalgam Mech, and then we'll deal with the Dragon Biddy, who really isn't that bad. Again, it's just the Biddy. We're going to roll 3 attack dice against the mech. with the remainder of Duster's decks. Again, we already have that defense die of a 2 in place. Bam, do 1 damage and 2 bones. Wow, that's just great. I love it. It's so fun. What is happening? All right, so we got the mech swarm down to 1 damage. I just rolled 5 dice at it and took off 2 health. That is how I roll, people. And again, I'm getting close to that fortunate discovery, which I love so much. We're going to go to the mech's turn. The mech swarm is going to attack the weakest adjacent unit. They both have 3 health on them. And since Duster has this 2 shield and the 3 buff HP on the mat, we're just going to have Duster go ahead and take this attack. So we're only rolling 2 dice, however, because Assault is now reduced because the health points are down to 2. We are going to do the self-repair 1, 2 attack dice against Duster, 2 damage. We're just going to take that shield out of Duster's active area. Fine. The dragon Biddy is going to move 1 to attack Duster, attacking with 1 die. Duster is going to be weakened, so weaken 1, and the dragon Biddy bones because she's been taking lessons from me. We're going to go to round 4. Nightshade is just going to be like, guys, girls, I should say, let me show you how it's done. We are on a string of 4 2s in a row. Can Nightshade continue the awesomeness? Only 2, but that's fine. That's fine. 2 is enough. We're now going to go to Stanza's turn. Stanza is going to vamp onto the old self-free again, and is going to also have to vamp Forevermind because there are no more stanzas to that song. Stanza is going to roll 2 attack dice, 1 defend die against the mech swarm. She still has 2 more decks on top of that. So let's actually move Stanza 1, 2, just kind of get her a little bit more into the action and use all her decks. And now we're rolling these 3 dice. 2 bones would be actually fine at this point, but no, we got the 1 shield and we get 2 damage. So I remove the 1 shield from the mech swarm and we knock it down to its final bit of health. And that is Stanza's turn. Duster's going to go. Duster's weakened, so we only have 3 decks instead of 4. And Duster, I think, is going to try to defeat this mech swarm. I think that's going to make the most sense. So Duster's going to take the last 3 points of decks that she has, and she's going to roll all 3 of her attack dice against the mech swarm. I roll 1 bone, so really close to fortunate discovery, and I do 2 damage. That will work. This dude is toast, my ghost. So that mech is out. We only have 1 baddie left. It is the dragon Biddy. He's going to attack the strongest. Duster is stronger than Nightshade. So the dragon Biddy's rolling 1 die here. And it's a bones. And we have weakened Duster again with a weakened 1. All right, we go to round 5. Let's see if I can't cash in on some of these opportunities with my backup plans. Not even going to attack with Nightshade, just going to move over there. Duster isn't going to advance any of these songs. We're just going to exhaust them both and save everyone some time. We're going to take this defense die out. Duster's going to move close solely for the purpose of being able to roll dice that require a target. So we're going to roll both attack dice. This defend die, give me 2 bones, finally. Nope, did not do it. But just because I didn't, I'm going to give Duster a chance to do it. So Duster is going to only have 3 dice. There is a bones on this dagger. Is it more likely to roll on this dagger than it is on the other attack dice? No, it is not. But it's just as likely, so let's roll it because it's cool and I like it and it's red and the other ones are white and I don't know, it's just prettier to look at. So we're going to roll these 3 dice against the dragon Biddy. What do we get? No bones again. I am going to not get my fortune of discovery, and out of sure, whatever, I'm just going to apply Duster's dagger and let's let the Biddy just defeat itself out of bleeding, because that just somehow makes me feel better about what just happened with these bone situations. And Dragon Biddy's turn takes 1 true damage because of the bleed. Done skis. All right, nice little battle there. We are going to get 2 loot each, and 1 training point. I definitely need to get some more decks with Duster here, so I'm going to upgrade that to a 5. We take all this extra buff HP off. Nightshade is going to come back. This die is going to go back in its home, and I'll take the round die, put it over here. We have the luitar die, we have Forever Mine, we have Under the Old Self Free, and we get 1 training point for Stanza. Stanza is going to take her Axe Blade. That's right, big sucker for the Axe Blade. Love the poison ability. You are going to get 2 bones a third of the time, but it's a small price to pay. Let's do our loot. 2 loot for Duster. We get the handled blade. Anytime during your turn, I can roll 2 attack dice apart from other dice and deal damage to any adjacent unit. Rolling at bones breaks the blade, canceling any attack rolled, and it must be discarded immediately. Usable once per turn. There are 2 uses on there. Okay, nice little additional damage to an adjacent baddie. Don't mind that. The other loot for Duster was not a fortunate discovery. Unfortunately, it is the Krellin Caviar single battle. Heal yourself for 1 hit point at the start of each of your turns. My understanding of this is you can't put it on you at the beginning of the battle. You have to wait to your turn and you put it on, and then you can immediately get that 1 hit point because it's still the start of your turn time window. So it is what it is. So that can be a really helpful thing to have, especially again in the tyrant battle. This one I'm still a little bit worried about my health situation, even at a 6 for both Duster and Stanza. We're going to take 2 loot for Stanza. She's the one who gets a fortunate discovery. I'm probably going to trade that with Duster because I do think that Blade Dip's a lot more important than that either the luitar strings or the amplifier. And then we're going to get another fortunate discovery. Well, that's interesting, people. I might give both of them to Duster because I just think Duster's gonna need them more. I mean, luitar strings are fine, amplifier is fine, but oh man, that's nuts. Luitar strings are nice, like late if you're trying to get that luitar smash in. It really gives you a lot of bones there. The other consumable for Duster is those scrag roots, and they can be really, really helpful if you're up against any of these baddies that have bleed or whatnot, because it just anytime a negative die would be placed on you, instead you just ignore it, and that's a really nice effect. You're going to be weakened. Nope, you're not. You just ignore it. And you know, with Duster especially, you know, that could be really, really huge. Let's go to the recovery phase. Duster and Stanza are both going to heal. I know that already. Am I trading loot here? I think I am. What am I taking for Stanza here? I think the Krellin Caviar actually makes a little bit more sense for Stanza. So I'm going to trade the Krellin Caviar to Stanza and trade both the Fortunate Discoveries to Duster. Duster's going to use both Fortunate Discoveries. And again, remember when she gets her consumables, what does she do? She rolls both of them right away. We got Blade Dip 1 and we got Scrag Roots 2. So we have 1 instance where we can try to add poison to an attack. The way that works is you roll as many attack dice as you want. However, if you roll the bones on any of your attack dice, poison is not added. If you don't roll the bones, you get a poison amount equal to the number of attack dice that you rolled. It can be really, really helpful, but it's single use and you have to decide to use it before you actually make that attack roll. So it's a little gambly. A lot of times I like to roll 2, even if I can roll 3 or more, because I'm just trying to get that poison on because I just find that more important. We're going to get Duster back to 6 health. That will do. We're going to get Stanza back to 6 health. That will do. Let's get our 4th day of progress. We did succeed. We are going to find the special encounter, Council Labs, Research and Development, and place that on top of the encounter deck like so. And let's see what happens as we get to day 5. We still have this Dragon Juvenile chilling here, which is super fun. So Council Labs, Research and Development. The smell of formaldehyde is so overwhelming you could almost see it hanging in the air. Steel beds line the outside of the room, creating an ominous perimeter around a massive shelving system in the chamber's center. Leather straps rest across each of the metal cots. The shelving houses numerous jars, gears, sprockets, eyeballs, entire limbs. It looks much like Tink's repair shop might if he was forced to merge with a morgue. Something evil has been done here. The door to a connecting room bursts open, and a horde of mechs are ready to protect the lab. Dun, dun, dun. So we can tuck tail and run. No, that's not happening. We are going to push them back. Battle queue is baddie points, which is 10, and we're including the Abomination prototype, which is a mech. The Abomination prototype is super interesting in that it also has disruption. That could be super bad. So let's see if we can avoid that. So we have to include this in the baddie queue. Mechs are always added on the bottom. And then what's the rest of the baddie queue? Well, the Abomination prototype includes 3 points of the 10. We get 1 5-point baddie, 2 1-point baddies, and then the mech that we already know what it is going to be on the bottom. Let's place them on the battle mat. Again, not a lot on the raft today, sticking with this mat instead. We're going to get the Dragon Juvenile. Dragon Juvenile is going to go into the range position in lane 1. With 5 health, has careless, again, a bleed. The bleed could come really in handy with Scrag Roots if I can keep it attacking Duster for a little bit. We're going to get, after that, the Cobalt Collector. The Cobalt Collector goes in the melee position in lane 2. It has equipment, so what's the equipment going to be? It is, again, just enamored with the Sharpening Stone. That's it. That's all it does. So it's going to have 2 attack dice, not just 1. After that, we have the Kobold Tenderfoot, hardy compound. It comes in with only 2 health, so we'll try to take care of him in the first couple of rounds. It has an any die of a 2, so again, it's going really late. We're going to put that in the melee position in lane 3. And last but not least, we have this mech. Now it's going to get the lane 4 marker, but it's a mech, so we have to roll, see where it's placed. It's going to be placed in the 6th spot. It has 3 health, self-repair 2. So we're going to put 2 defense on it automatically. And again, it's going to repair up to 2 every time. We have the round marker over here. It's going to go to round 1. The rest of the any dice are here. We have 2 for lane 3. We have a 3 for the collector in lane 2, 4 for the dragon in lane 1, and then we have a 3 for the mech in position 6. I'm going to roll the any dice for both Stanza and Duster. Remember, Duster is back to full health, so Nightshade does not start on the battle mat here. We rolled 2 5s. Yeah, the any die for Duster is 3 3 4 5 5 6. It's a really, really nice any die. I'll have Duster go first and try to take down this dragon fairly quickly. I think that will work. Dusters can start anywhere on the mat. How about starting there? And then we can put Stanza where we want. We'll have Stanza here. I think that makes some sense. We are going to do Duster's turn. Duster is attacking with 3 attack dice. It's also going to roll Duster's dagger, and it's going to roll its 1 defense die. And we are attacking, obviously, the Dragon Juvenile. I am going to try to save Blade Dip for as long as I can. And I might even use this handled blade if I think it will just kind of kill this thing. So let me see what I can put on it going in. Rolling these 5 dice. It's my full dex. Yowza, that's nice. We get 4 damage. So down to 1. I do get a bleed effect as well. So that's going to be Toast My Ghost, and we get the 1 defense die. Do not even need to use the handled blade. That dragon is not going to make it very long. Let's push back these mechs. I love how it's like, there's mechs everywhere, and there's like 1 mech and a bunch of dragons and kobolds. It's kind of written a little strange, but you know, such is life here. We're now going to do what? We're going to take a turn with Stanza. Now, Stanza has a dex of 5. She's going to roll her luitar die at the beginning of battle, so we get a focus of a 4, usually sufficient for my purposes with these 2 songs. We're going to start the under the old self-free, get myself 1 buff HP, and then we're going to start Forever Mine as well and take a turn for a level 1 baddie. The level 1 baddie that we're taking a turn for is going to be the Cobalt Collector. The Cobalt Collector is going to move 1 and 2 and is going to attack the Abomination prototype with 2 attack dice. That's not going to work. I mean, it's got the self-repair. I just don't know if it's worth it to really try to mess with that too much. Yeah, we'll let that guy come out. Let's take care of this dude, I think. Yeah, I'm just going to move him away. So 1, 2, not attacking anybody. Let's just get them in a place where I'm not worrying about them attacking us. They do have 2 dice. It could be a little nasty. I don't think it's worth too much there to try to do much more than that. And now I'm going to attack the Kobold Tenderfoot. I have 3 decks left. I'm going to roll my Axe Blade, 1 attack die, and my 1 defense die. And let's see if I can't poison it. And then it will just defeat itself with Hardy on its own turn. So I rolled perfect. So I do 1 damage. I would do 2 damage again, but Hardy triggers. So we're not doing 2 damage. We're going to get a poison 2 die on top of the Tenderfoot here, just like that. And then we're going to get 1 defense or active slots. Now my Axe Blade is exhausted. That will do. We're going to go to the dragon's turn. The bleed effect kicks in. The dragon is defeated. So that's nice. So we'll take that die out. After that, we have, the Cobalt Collector. I would just move the Cobalt Collector straight that way. My whole point is it wasn't attacking, and I knew that was going to die. So sorry about that. So the Cobalt Collector is going to move 2, 1, 2. It can't get adjacent to either of us. And then we have the Abomination Prototype. That's going to move 1, 2. Again, doesn't roll any dice, which is good because I'm worried about that disruption. The Tenderfoot has poison 2, takes true damage beginning of its turn. So that is also defeated at the beginning of its turn. And now we go to round 2. So no Nightshade because, we're still at full health here. And I think we're in pretty decent shape to try to go pretty hard at this mech. Let's see if we can't knock this mech out right now. So first we have Duster. Duster's going to move 1, 2, and 3. Duster has 2 decks left. It's going to roll 2 attack dice. All right, 2 damage takes away the shield. I'm going to use the handle blade. Anytime during your turn, roll 2 attack dice apart from your other dice. This does not cost dex, and it deals damage to any adjacent unit. If I roll the bones, I break the handle blade, and it goes bye-bye. Please don't break the blade. Oh, that's bad. So bye-bye handle blade. You're quite useless, but what else do we expect from me these days? So we go to Stanza's turn. Stanza is going to vamp onto the old Selfrey, and then Stanza is going to advance Forever Mine. It takes 1 dex. Again, vamping doesn't take any dex. I'm going to take a turn for the Cobalt Collector. So Cobalt Collector is moving down. It's rolling 2 attack dice because again, it has a sharpening stone, so it enhances attack die from 1 to 2. 2 attack dice against the Abomination, rolled 2 damage. And let's try to knock that guy out. I think that makes the most sense. So now Stanza has 4 decks left. Remember, we vamped 1 song. So we're moving 1, 2, 3, 1 decks left. Do not bones out on me now, Stanza. 1 damage. Awesome. So we have defeated the Abomination Prototype. That die can come out. And now we just have the Cobalt Collector's turn. Cobalt Collector is going to move, and it will attack both of us because we are both the weakest. Wait, the Cobalt Collector should have rolled a defense die too on its last turn. So sorry about that. So that's there. When you have that sharpening stone die there, sometimes it's not easy to see the rest of it. So the Cobalt Collector is going to move. It will attack both of us. I'm not sure if I have to move it there to attack both since it has 2 targets, or if I could just choose to move it this way or that way. But I think thematically I'll just have it move there and attack both targets. Hopefully it doesn't roll out good. So we are rolling 2 attack dice. I can attack in whatever order I want. They both have 6 health. So we'll attack Duster first with 2 dice. It is 3 damage. So this comes off. 2 damage to Duster. And we're attacking with 2 dice against Stanza. 2 damage. So this comes off and the buff HP comes off. That will do. We go to round 3. Since Duster is not at full health anymore, Nightshade comes to the rescue. Nightshade's going to take a turn. Nightshade rolls 2 damage for 2 attack dice. That will get 1 off. 1 damage. I predicted it. I said 2 damage. There we go. Clairvoyance. Look it up. Duster's going to go. Duster's going to go ahead and roll 3 attack dice and try to finish the sucker off. Not chasing any bones right now, so no need to belabor this. We do 4 damage. That is enough to defeat the Cobalt Collector. So if successful, we get our 2 loot for each gearloc and then immediately find and proceed yet today, so we're still on day 5, with special encounter, Council Labs, Biohazard, reset battle and gearloc mats and use current HP. So I can't heal, there is no recovery phase, but at least I have a little bit of time to kind of get my stuff in order. So I'm going to put Duster's Dagger back in place. We're going to put Nightshade back in place, although Nightshade will be starting on the board next turn because we are not at full hit points. Stanza is, however. Stanza is going to put our luitar die back. We're putting Forever Mind back. We're putting Under the Old Selfry back. And then we're also going to get our Axe Blade back. So special encounter, Council Labs, Biohazard. Oh, I also get my 2 loot. Don't forget about your loot, Greg. So we get loot here. Descaler, grant any gearloc 2 buff HP. Like to see that. And Duster's also going to get the Harpoon Pistol. Choose a non-tyrant baddie on the baddie mat and place it on a position adjacent to you. If this baddie is a Krellin, it is instantly defeated. This can be very useful in the tyrant encounter in this particular setup. For Stanza, we have the Tar, Sap, and Twine. During a warder battle on your turn, remove up to 3 record shifts from positions that are either adjacent to you or at your existing position. During a land battle on your turn, place an obstacle chip in an open adjacent position. And then the next one, the Cackler Nest, heal yourself for 2 hit points, cannot be used on a turn in which defense dice are rolled. There are 3 uses to that loot. Can be quite handy. Again, there's not a recovery phase, so it's not like we can trade this right now. So we immediately go to the next portion of day 5. Let's read this up. Clang! The lab is so dark that even the light of a torch seems to be swallowed. The loud noises are enough to make one's stomach drop through the floor. Clang! It's hard to see anything, just occasional flashes of metal reflecting the torch. Clang! The noise the thing or things is making is terrifying. The torch catches a glimpse of an ape, or is it a goblin? Then it reappears as a kobold. In the dark, it is impossible to tell if a single unspeakable something is preparing to attack, or if the room is full of angry monstrosities. What the heck is down here? Now we could stop right now, get a progress point or whatever. I'm not going to do that. So we have baddie points, including 2 mechs. So it's going to be 6. It's going to be basically 4 1-point baddies, and they have the 2 mechs as well. At the end of each round, replace the top of every 5-point baddie chip with a new 5-point baddie. Do not adjust hit points or any. Successful, we're going to have a 3rd part to this. So it's interesting. I've done this rabbit hole a couple of times. I do like it, and I think the upside of getting all this loot potential, if you can pull it off, is nice. It only gets really bad on day 3 if you don't pull it off and you're like, oh my gosh, I rolled this loot, but I didn't get my progress point. Again, I'm still trying to see if I can't attack this queen on day 7. We have to get 2 mechs. There are only 2 mechs left in our little mech stack here. I'm choosing option 1. There are going to be no 5-point baddie chips on play, so we don't have to worry about replacing the 5-point baddies. We just have the 1-point baddies. I'm just going to reconstitute the baddie stack. Now, again, the timid geophage is in here. I think that's right. It's a little worse now because I obviously have tons of loot that I wouldn't want to lose. So I'm not sure how that's supposed to go. I think if it says flee puts it in the defeated baddie stack, then that's going to stay in the defeated baddie stack for the entire adventure, at least the way I'm reading it on the fly here. So we're going to get these 4 1-point baddies. They're going to go on top of the mechs. Again, mechs always go on the bottom. Krellin always go on top. We're going to get the first 1-point baddie is the Goblin Dabbler. Goblin Dabbler is going to have the first lane marker. It's going to have 3 points of health, and it's going to go in the melee position in lane 1. Next, speaking of the devil, the timid geophage. See if we can take care of him. He has 6 points of health and is going to go in lane 2 in that position. Next, we have the Goblin Devastator. It's going to have 3 points of health. It's going to go in the melee position over here. Lots of melee here. And then finally, last but not least, I told you, he comes out every time. How is there only 2 of these in the stack? These in the range position right there. We have these dice. We're going to have the Broadcaster with a 6, the Goblin Dabbler with a 2, the Timid Geophage with a 2, and the Goblin Devastator with a 4. I need to roll the any dice for both Stanza, Nightshade and Duster. Remember, Nightshade is starting in the battle mat. Nightshade is a 666-333. And of course, I rolled the 3. So we get Duster there with the 4. Nightshade with the 3. Stanza also with a 4. So not the roll of dreams by any means. Let's try to make this happen though. Stanza can go to any position it wants. Do I want to try to take out this timid geophage? Maybe. Yikes. Stanza might be in trouble because the broadcaster is going to attack with 1 dice right off the bat. So if it rolls a 2, it's going to be a short-lived day. I'm going to put Nightshade here. I'm going to put Duster here. And I'm going to put Stanza here. The broadcaster is going to go. The broadcaster is going to put another 1-point baddie on the bottom of this. And then the broadcaster is going to roll a attack die and a defense die, and it is attacking Nightshade. Don't roll a 2. All right, good. Nightshade's down to 1 health. The broadcaster puts 1 defense die on top of it. I was hoping it would bones the defense die because then I could potentially use Stanza's Forever Mine to go and knock it out, but that's not going to work. Duster's going to go. Duster's rolling 3 attack dice and 1 defense die. It's going to roll its dagger just in case it rolls really bad. Remember, it doesn't have to take that result if it doesn't want to. Meanwhile, we are going to use a descaler to get 2 buff HP. Don't like only having 4. Just feel like things could go super bad. So rolling these 5 dice. So it's all of my decks here. So not going to use Duster's dagger. I bonesed out on my defense die, but I am going to be able to defeat the Goblin Broadcaster. And then this available chip is going to go to the top mech on the baddie queue. Now we go to Stanza. Stanza is going to start Forever Mine. Let's start getting some damage on this guy. And she's also starting under the old Selfie. I do need to roll my luitar die. I rolled a 3, so not the most amazing amount of focus, but should do the trick. So I'm going to get 1 buff HP for starting under the old Selfie, and I'm going to take a turn for a 1-point baddie. It's dangerous to take a turn for the Devastator because I can't really use this careless to my advantage. If I rolled it here and it has 1 that's damaged, now it's going to move here and then it will just come and destroy me. Now I could use the Tar Sap and Twine to basically say you can't get to me. That's one option, but I'm going to try to really dig into the geophage here. So the Goblin Dabbler is going to attack the geophage with 1 attack die, and it does 1 damage. So geophage is down to 5 health. Stanza is going to go ahead with the rest of her turn. She still has 3 decks left, so she's rolling 2 attack die and 1 defense die against the geophage. So get 1 bones here. We do 1 damage. We get 1 shield. I'm going to go ahead and use this bones immediately to tune up my luitar die to make that a 4. We now go ahead with the Goblin Devastator. Goblin Devastator is going to move 2. It's going to roll 1 attack die, 1 defend die. It's attacking Stanza. Did not bones out. 1 damage. Going to take away my shield. It has a shield of 2 on it. Nightshade's going to go. Nightshade cannot attack anybody. I'm just going to move Nightshade 2. I could have used Pack Mentality on Duster's turn. I wanted to no, because then it's going to get attacked by the Goblin Dabbler. So we're just going to move the Nightshade 2. Just really wanted to protect that. And then on the Timid Geophage's turn, it's just going to roll a defense die. It bones out, so it doesn't get any defense. And then finally on the, the Geophage would have been second after the Goblin Dabbler. Goblin Dabbler is going to move 2. Closest gearloc is Duster, so 1 and 2. We now go to round 2. We do have 1 open lane. We're going to put the new mech with the lane 4 chip. It is the Mech Darter. I'm going to roll a d6 to see where the Mech Darter is going to start. It's going to start in position 2 with 2 health, and it has 3 dice on it to start this. Only attacks with 1. It's got self-repair, and it has swap. So a whole bunch of things going on there. This comes in at the bottom of the innie meter because it is a 3-point baddie. Duster is going to go. Duster is going to try to deal with this geophage, I think. Instead of it fleeing, I don't really want to give up any of my loot. So Duster's going to roll 3 dice and 1 defend die. And Dustin's dagger, just in case. Probably won't use the dagger, although it's not going to be that useful against the mechs, right? Bam. I did 2 damage. We got a bones. I'm not going to use Dustin's dagger. We did get a shield. So not the roll of dreams there. We're done with Duster. We now have Stanza. Stanza's going to vamp under the old Selfree, so it doesn't cost dex, and then we're going to advance Forever Mine. I'm going to move the mech. The mech is attacking the Goblin Dabbler with 1 die. I don't want to deal with that mischief. It's just better to be attacked by the mech than it is by the Dabbler. So 1 die against a Dabbler. It's 1 damage. And I'm not going to trigger the swap. Again, you have control over all skills. I don't want to do the swap. I like things positioned just the way they are. And we're going to go ahead with the rest of Stanza's turn. Stanza still has 4 decks. We're going to roll 2 attack dice and the axe blade, just in case I might not use it, and the defend die. Rolling all of that against the timid geophage. Great. So I'm not going to use the axe blade. I bonesed out. I'm going to get this 1 defend die. I do 3 damage, and that is plenty to kill this dude. And now the treasure die goes right there. This now is an available chip for a mech. Timid geophage back in the stack. And that is the end of my turn. Goblin Devastator isn't going to move at all. It's just going to attack Stanza with 1 die, 2 damage. So I lose my shield. I lose my 1 buff HP that I got from under the old Selfree. We now go to Duster's turn. Duster's going to move. It's going to get adjacent to the Devastator. It's rolling 2 attack dice. I'd love to get through that defense a little bit. Just rolled 2, so that is going to be enough to get rid of all its shield, but not do any damage to it. The Goblin Dabbler is going to move here. It will attack both of us with Mischief 1. So a little bit of bad planning on my part. So it's attacking Duster first. So I remove the shield, and then it's going to attack Duster with 1 die. 1 damage. That comes off the buff HP. That was from the descaler. It's also going to attack Stanza. I'm going to just exhaust under the old Selfree. Let me leave Forever Mine out there. It's rolling 1 die. 1 damage. So Stanza's down to 5. We now go to the next turn, which was the Timid Geophage. They're out. And then finally the mech. The mech is going to attack Duster with 1 die. 2 damage. So the buff HP comes off. Duster's down to 3, and then it swaps. It's going to swap places with Duster because Duster is the closest gearloc. We go to round 3. End of the round, there is an open spot for another mech. So we have the Spider Bot 4.0, comes in with 3 health. It has 2 defense on it, and it has bleed. So hopefully it attacks Duster mostly. What spot are we putting this in? It's going to go to this place. Bananas I'll probably use. Yeah, I definitely want to get some more healing here with Duster. So Duster's turn. Remember, we're gonna get a bunch of loot, and we still have this die there. The die, as long as it's on the same spot as the Dabbler, is interesting. I don't think we can take it until we actually defeat the Dabbler. I think we can actually. All right, if the die is on the battle mat, you can pick it up and immediately roll and get its results. Units can be in the same position as loot dice. So I will just pick it up from that position. So first we're going to use the bananas. It is round 3. Let's get Duster back to full health. Duster is back to 6. And Duster's not adjacent to the die anymore. Right, she got moved with swap. Oh, the Spider Bot came in with equipment, and it's also ranged, which is super nuts, and it has bleed. Oh, it's really nasty. So it attacks the strongest unit, so it's another reason to increase Duster because we have the Scrag Roots. I'm going to roll the die to see what the equipment is. Yeah, what a nasty little thing. Oh, of course, it's also going to roll with 2 dice. I think we have to take care of that as our first priority. That sucker is just nasty. I really wish the goblin had rolled a bones at some point. If I could use Stanza's song to move it. That mischief effect is going to be bad. Ugh, so many bad things. I'm going to use a harpoon pistol to move this sucker here. The longer that's on the mat, the harder this is going to be. Does not have the ability to heal. And I can't make it bleed though, because obviously it's a bot. So I'm rolling 3 attack dice, 1 defend die, and I'm going to roll Duster's dagger just potentially to get the damage impact, even though I can't make it bleed. So these 5 dice are going to roll. I would like a 5 if possible. That'd be nice to just be done with this sucker. Bam. 1, 2, 3, 4 damage and 1 defense. I think I let that ride, so I'm going to exhaust Duster's dagger just to get the extra damage out of that. This goes out, and this is down to 1 health. So that's going to be super easy to take out in future turns. Oh, I might be able to take it out with Stanza, which is even better. All right, Stanza's turn. Stanza's going to advance, forever mine, and Stanza is going to take a turn for the Dabbler. So the Dabbler is going to move 2, 1, 2. It's going to roll 1 attack die. Don't bones. All right, 1 damage. Great. That defeats the spider bot. So happy to get that out of the way. We do have 1 more baddie to worry about, thanks to the broadcaster who did its broadcasting thing. Stanza still has 4 decks left. I'm sorry, this die is still here. Stanza's immediately going to use 1 of those decks to pick up this die and immediately roll it. I really dislike when I roll that, especially when it's already in the thing. So the loot die has a bunch of cool things you can get, and every once in a while you roll the Ebonite Doorway, but that's already shuffled into my encounters. So just a giant waste of time and effort, but that's awesome. I have 3 decks left. I'm going to move 1, 2, and I'm rolling the axe blade. Let's try to finish this dude off once for all. He only has 2 health. I bones out. That's a wee bit unfortunate because I'm going to have to lose that forever mine die right now. We go to the Devastator. The Devastator is going to attack Nightshade. Nightshade's probably not long for this world, unfortunately. Yup, Devastator did not roll a bones, defeated Nightshade. Nightshade comes back on the prep area with 1 health, which is pretty significant. So we'll still have access to Nightshade next battle. So when we get out of this one, although it's looking less and less assured at this point, this is going to be an exhausted die. We go to number 2. It's a Dabbler. The Dabbler is going to make me exhaust that song. So no more songs for Miss Stanza. Rolling 1 die. It bones is out. Why couldn't the Devastator do that? And then finally the Mech is going to attack with 1 die. It gets 1 damage. It's going to remove the shield from Duster and then it's going to swap with Duster because Duster's closest. Awesome. We go to round 4. We're going to get the final baddie. It is the Kobold Tenderfoot. Oh, frig. With Hardy. That's nasty. And I don't have, oh man, I do not have my ability to attack it with Stanza like I normally do, and I don't have Nightshade. So totally unfortunate here. Gonna just have to attack that because it not be attacked by 5 dice. That's super bad. Well, Duster has a chance to wipe it out. I'm thinking about using the blade dip, but I have axe blade. Now I think I do blade dip. If I don't bones out, then I could just make sure that dies on its turn. Yeah, Hardy and Compound is really vicious. So I hate using blade dip this way, but I'd rather be a little safer here. I'm just going to roll 1 attack die. Make sure I don't bones out. Because if I bones out, I bones out. It is what it is. If I don't, then I get it damaged. So I'm exhausting the blade dip. I'm rolling 1 attack die. I'm rolling 1 defense die here. I didn't bones out on my attack die, and I get a 3rd bones. Now, if I get Fortune of Discovery, I'll get blade dip right back. So that's great. So I do 1 damage, and because I did blade dip, I'm going to do a poison 1. So Tenderfoot is going to be defeated on its turn, and that's going to free me up to do something else with Stanza. Stanza still has 5 health. I have this Cackler's Nest, which is nice because it doesn't make any sense to roll any defense dice because, again, this Goblin Dabbler is just going to keep removing it from me. So maybe it's just time to start eating into that guy. Nah, self-repair, swap. Now let's get rid of this Dabbler. Dabbler's pretty bad. Stanza's going to attack with 2 attack dice. I'll roll the axe blade just in case. I have full 5 decks, so I'm not playing any songs. I'm going to roll this shield, assuming I kill the Dabbler, which would be nice. And I have nothing else I can roll, so we'll roll these 4 dice. Bones on the defense die. Axe blade came out bones again, but I do 2 damage with my attack dice, which kills this dude. So thank you, Dabbler. Come again. Goblin Devastator is going to go after the weakest. That is Stanza. 1, 2 is rolling an attack die. Gets 1 damage. Stanza's down to 4. The mech is going to attack Stanza because it attacks the weakest. Attacks 1 die. Bones is it. Now it's still going to swap with the strongest. So Duster's now back here, which is a little unfortunate. Can't do much out there but attack the mech, which is probably what I want to do anyway. And then on its own turn, the Tenderfoot takes a damage from the poison and is no longer alive. So that worked out fairly well. Liked how we figured that out. We go to round 5. So close to the fatigue rounds. Really would like to not take a bunch of damage in fatigue. We're going to do Duster's turn. Duster's rolling 3 attack dice and a defend die, and it's going to try to get through this serious amount of defense from this mech. What do we get? Oh, man, I'm rolling crispy. So I got a defend 2, 2 damage, which removes this shield 2, and I bones. I am going to use my 4 bones now while I'm thinking of it to get my blade dip back. I roll its blade dip 2, so that worked out fairly well. Stanza's turn. Stanza is going to heal herself for 2. The Cackler's Nest, we have 2 more uses of that. Stanza's up to 6. Cannot roll a defense die as a result. Stanza is going to roll 2 attack dice against the Devastator. Try to get rid of that shield. Oh, and the axe blade. Here we go. So it's rolling these 3 dice. Come on, axe blade. Axe blade bones is out again. Oh, awful. Awful, awful. I might as well take those bones. I mean, I'm never getting to 6. I'm never getting to 5 either. That's just unfortunate. Yeah, I'll just let it explode. I just got to get rid of it. I have the Cackler's Nest. I have other things to do. So I'm going to do 3 damage. 2 takes that off. And now we have detonate 2 because it has less than full health. On the Devastator's turn, it's going to blow up. Does 2 true damage to me. Not a big deal. I didn't have a shield anyway, so it's probably going to get at least 1 damage on me anyway. This is done. And the mech, the self-repair 1, is going to attack Duster with 1 die. It reduces Duster's shield down to a 1, and then swap. We go to the fatigue rounds. All right, 1 damage, 1 damage. Fatigue does not affect the mech. On Duster's turn, Duster's rolling 3 attack dice. Hopefully it rolls better than last time. It's not going to reroll that defend die because it's already in there. So 3 attack dice. Just did 2 damage. And a bones. I need Nightshade, man. Nightshade was the only one that could roll. Stanza's going to go. Stanza's going to use a Cackler's Nest again. Is going to heal for 2. And is going to attack with 2 attack dice. I'm gonna roll the axe blade again. I can't poison the mech, but I can do the damage to it right off the bat. I bones that with the axe blade, but I do 2 damage, and that is enough to kill the mech with only 1 fatigue round. So that could have been a whole lot worse. So we are through that. We're gonna get 2 more loot. So I get loot for Duster, Power Cell, reroll any 2 dice. Only usable in battle. That could be really helpful. And then non-essential oils. You may reroll your initiative die during battle setup. Really like that as well. 2 loot for Stanza. Spider Silk. In the recovery phase, I can put 1 hit point on this and use it whenever I want. And then finally, Fortunate Discovery. I'm going to get rid of the Spider Salve. It's too late in the adventure for that to be of much use. I will use the Fortunate Discovery and we will get ourselves... can I use it right now? I think I can use it now. This is immediately find and proceed with special encounter. So I have to immediately proceed. So I don't think I can use this Fortune Discovery just yet. So I won't use it just now. And we are going to proceed to the last thing, which is the Special Encounter Council Labs Horror Factory. Here we go. Still day 5. Council Labs Horror Factory. Here it is. The machine is something out of a nightmare. Saws, syringes, hooks, and a face mask. Gearloc viscera and council literature is everywhere. Did Nobulus and the council really create entirely new species and use their own brethren as experiments to do so? There were always rumors of what happened at the break. Was this the result or some awful continuation? An enormous Yeti-like creature blocks the doorway behind us. There are only 2 possible options. Burn this monster in the lab to the ground. We try to escape through a darkly lit room in the back. But some awful uneasy feeling is saying to stay as far away from that room as possible. I am definitely using option 1. I don't even like the idea of option 2, but here we go. Destroy the lab. A preview of things to come. Today's battle is breaking the immortal. However, Nobulus and his tyrant die will not participate. This is not in place of the final battle. All right, encounter success is achieved when Abomination is defeated for the first time if successful persistence. We don't need to defeat everything, just need to defeat the Abomination. So let me get the special encounters that we need for this. Breaking the Immortal is from Nobulus, the other tyrant. So baddie Q is baddie points. And then we add 2 mechs. So it's going to be 10. So we have 2 5-point baddies and 2 mechs. Need to reshuffle the mechs. And they'll come on to the battle as well. Now I do need to reset everything else, by the way. So we have round 1 marker. Nightshade only has 1 health, but he will start on the mat because Duster is not at full health. And I'll put Duster's dagger back in place. And then what do we have over here? Axe blade, 10, 7. This comes out. Luitar die back. So we have our battle queue set. Abomination goes on the bottom, just like that. When Abomination is defeated for the first time, there's some other stuff, but again, we win as soon as he's defeated for the first time. When he first enters the battle mat, we place his tyrant die at the bottom of the innie meter. Tyrant die can be really nasty in this one. Tyrant dice take their own turn. So again, they just stay at the bottom of the innie meter. They're always at the bottom of the innie meter, and they're separate from the tyrant unit's turns. Tyrant dice are only rolled in their own turn. Abomination skills, you self-repair 2. Again, he is a mech. At the start of this unit's turn, place defense die totaling its number on it. It also has swap, switch position with the closest, strongest opposing unit. The die has reboot. Sometimes it puts Abomination back on the baddie queue, which can be bad. It has malicious code, which the strongest opposing unit rolls poison effect die and applies result to itself. And it has overclock. Abomination immediately takes a turn. That is honestly the best of 3. So 5-point baddies. We're going to do this. We have the Dragon Breacher is going to attack all 3 of us. Ooh. I don't think Nightshade is going to be very long for this world, folks. It's really bad. All right, so the Breacher is in lane 1, has 6 health. It does have Careless 2, so hopefully that comes up more than once, and that goes in a range position. Next, we have the Goblin Artificer, one of my least despised of the 5-point baddies. It has 4 health. It also has equipment. I rolled a 5, so we increase its any die by 2. So the any die goes from a 5 to a 6. I don't think that means that you have to consider it having an initiative of a 7. So if I roll a 6, I'm still ahead of that, but someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Again, things that I really wish were clarified in the rulebook, but what do I know? We are now going to add our 2 mechs. So we have the mech darter. It comes in with the lane 3 any die. We're going to roll that. It's going to be in position 6, 2 health, and it's going to have 2 defense dice on it. Again, we're back to having a bunch of swap opportunities. Don't have to kill everything now, just trying to kill the Abomination. I'm very sorry, George. We are also going to have this last mech. Oh, disruption. Oh, another swapper. So many swappers. That's not good. All right. 3 health. We're going to roll this. It's going to be in position 1, which puts it over there. Definitely scared of the disruption. Like I have explained before, only really need to kill 1 of these suckers in order to get Abomination on the mat, and that is what I am honestly most concerned about. So the darter has an initiative of a 4. The breacher has an any of a 5. This mech has an any of 3. So lots of high numbers there. I'm going to roll the 3 dice for Duster, Nightshade, and Stanza. I rolled a 6, 6, and a 2. I cannot re-roll for Stanza because non-essential oils went to Duster. Yikes. Alrighty then. Put these up here. really don't want Stanza to get attacked by this dude. He's rolling 2 dice again. It's so easy to hit that disruption. It's bad. I think we take out the Artificer as our first target because I can definitely target it with Nightshade right there. I can put Stanza anywhere. This Breacher does have compound. It's kind of a blessing and a curse, so it does make it more likely to hit that careless in future rounds, but obviously it's rolling more attack dice. And I'm going to put Stanza here. She's going to go super late. And remember, her first movement has to be off a mech starting position, which is going to be a thing, which does mean I'm not going to be able to advance. Not going to be able to advance songs. Not going to be able to advance songs, which is a problem. So let me put Nightshade here. I'm going to put Stanza here so I don't get swapped into a mech starting position. That makes more sense. We are going to go with Nightshade first. Nightshade's moving 2, and it's attacking with 2 dice against the Goblin Artificer. Can we get a hit, please? 3 damage. The Artificer, its equipment has left it very vulnerable. Again, it's not a bad 5-point baddie at all. Oh, Duster. I'm sorry. I had Nightshade go first. They're both are 6, so it's totally fine. Duster's going to go now. So there are no 1-point baddies, so if there was one, I could just take it and use it to attack the Artificer. But I think we just need to kill it. I do wish I still had that hand blade that broke, because then I could attack the Breacher and then, you know, sideswipe the Artificer as well, assuming I didn't break it. But breaking it is what I seem to do best, the way that worked out. And I think I take this opportunity to do a lot of damage on the Breacher. It's just too good of an opportunity. Yeah, let me attack the Breacher. So I'm going to roll 3 dice. I'm not going to do the blade dip. I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to roll the dagger. I'm going to roll a defense. All right, I can reroll 2 dice. Only use 1 battle, and I can do it twice. So I do like that. So it'll be 3 damage and a bleed. How does that work for you, Mr. Breacher? Oh, beautiful. This is nice. I got 2 bones. I'm going to add a bleed effect onto the Breacher. Remember, everything else is a mech pretty much. I can't really worry about that. I do 2 damage. Oh, and I get another damage from Dustin's dagger. So it was 1 damage and the bleed effect. So you don't always get the damage 2, but there's one side that has a 2, one side that has a 1, and then there's 5 sides that have bleeds total, and then there's the 1 bone, so that works out. I am now going to use my backup plan. Oh, wait a second. If he rolls any careless at all, he does 2 damage to himself, he bleeds, he would knock himself out before this guy. That I don't want to do. So I'm only going to do 2 damage to the Breacher. I'm going to try not get attacked by this dude, because that disruption is just like game over. We're now going to do the backup plan. So I can do a backup plan on a non-target. I'm going to use both of these bones, and I'm going to use the backup plan of a backstab. I can do 2 damage to a baddie that's adjacent to both Nightshade and myself, and I managed to wipe out the Goblin Artificer. Use that available chip, give it to Abomination, and that will work. The Artificer is out. So much for his eyeglasses. The Breacher is now going to attack all 3 units. He's going to take 1 damage off the top because of the bleed, and I'm hoping for it to roll 1 bone and exactly 1 bone, and then it will just die at the beginning of its next turn, which would be super nice. When it has multiple targets, it's going to attack in order of what its target is, which is weakest. So it's attacking Nightshade first with 1 die. It's rolling 1 defense die. It did roll the bones. It did defeat Nightshade. Nightshade goes back on the prep area with 1 health. It does 2 damage to itself. It's not going to reroll its defense die. Defense die is just not a thing it's going to do. So Stanza and Duster both have 5 health. So next we'll have it attack Stanza. Don't bones. Oh, shoot. It defeated itself. Record time. Wow. Okay. Please don't roll bones, Mr. Mech Hound. Oh, that'd be so bad. That'd be really bad. Really stupid. All right, that's a thing that I didn't expect to happen. So both 5-point baddies are out. We're just left with a bunch of mechs. Wowza. So out. Done. We're next going to do this mech. This mech is going to move 1, and it's going to attack with 1 die against Stanza. Here we go. 1 die. Bam. 2 damage to Stanza. And then we swap with the closest, strongest unit. That's going to go there and there. This mech now has a direct path to Duster, which is what I was trying to avoid. Rolls 2 dice. Don't roll a bounce. Oh my god. Shoot. So we immediately are going to do disruption. What does disruption do? Disruption means that at the end of this round, we go right to the fatigue rounds. Wow. It's not the worst, not the best. It's just 1 damage to Duster. And now we got to figure out how to make this work. So we go right to fatigue rounds. Nightshade is out. Oh, Stanza has a turn. Don't forget Stanza. Stanza, fix it. Stanza's going to use the rest of the Cackler's Nest. So she's not going to roll any defense dice, and she's going to get up to 5. I'm going to try to save the Kellen Caviar for a future battle. If I can. I don't know if I can. I'm going to start 2 songs. I give myself 1 buff HP, and I'm going to start Forever Mine. Mostly because I want to be able to take a turn for a mech next turn to attack the Abomination. Again, we just need to defeat it once. I have 3 more decks. I'm going to move 2 and then attack with 2. No, just attack with 1 and roll a shield. I think makes the most sense. 2 shield, 2 damage. So I got rid of 2 of the shield from the mech darter. Oh, wait. I do not want to go that way. I'm blocking Duster. So I would have gone this way. Duster takes a damage. Stanza takes a damage. Placement for the Abomination is going to be very important. Oh, by the way, this guy also had swap, so Duster would have moved there. Abomination is going to come in. It is a mech. Its Tyrant die. It goes at the end of the innie meter, and it has 5 health. It comes in with 2 shield, automatic, and again it has the repair 2. And since it's a Tyrant, it will come in at the top of the innie meter. Where is your Tyrant die? And so I'll just make this a 6. So the real moment of truth here is going to be what number I roll for the Abomination's placement. 3 or 5 would be pretty good. So we'll see where you're going to go. 4. It's a little rough. That swap was not great for Duster. So glad I remembered it because that would have been a big thing to forget. The Abomination will have a turn though. Oh, and he also will be swapping. Right. Abomination's going to go. It's a melee baddie. It doesn't move diagonal or anything, but it's going to go 1, 2, and going to attack Stanza. So it's rolling 2 attack dice. Again, its Tyrant die is different. That has its own turn at the end of the innie meter, but hopefully I can wipe out the Abomination before we get there. So rolling 2 attack dice, rolled 3 damage. So I take away my shield, I take away my 1 buff HP. And then, of course, because it is the thing to do today, we have a swap action. Duster's turn. Duster's going to move 1, 2, 3. It has 2 more decks. It's going to do an attack. It's attacking with 2 dice, and I can re-roll them if they're awful. We have to get 7 points of damage on this dude, and it's not going to be easy. I think I'm rolling 6 dice, full 5 attack dice, and then I have this axe blade. So we got some options here. So I'm rolling these 2 dice. Again, we have power cell if they're bad. It's 3 damage. Can't do much better than that. I'll tell you what. So this goes away. And then 1 damage. So we're 4 health left to get through. Don't hate it. Duster is done. The mech darter. Oh, this is nice, actually. The mech darter going before this die is pretty huge. So the mech darter is going to go after the weakest. The weakest at this point is Duster. The mech darter moves 1. The mech darter does a self-repair, so it's going to get its shield back to a 2 because it's only a self-repair of a 1, and it's not at the max that's on the side yet, so it would repair again next turn. And it's attacking Duster with an attack of 1 die, does 1 damage to Duster, and then swap. This mech is going to attack the weakest. We're going to go 1, 2. It's going to attack Duster. It's attacking with 2 dice. Duster, oh shoot. Duster gets knocked out. We lose its locked dice. Oh, that'd be really sad. Oh, that'd be really sad. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. Shoot, come on, bones it, baby. Bones in. Yes. 2 bones. It disrupted. Duster does not get knocked out. Yowza, that was awesome. Very cool. Stanza. Oh, Stanza never rolled her luitar die. Well, we got a 5. Great. Stanza's going to vamp under the old tower free. Might as well. It's going to advance forever mine. It can take a turn for a 3-point baddie. We're taking a turn for this dude. 1, 2. I'm going to ignore the swap, and I'm going to hope we get all the bones out of its system because it's rolling 2 attack dice. 2 damage and another bones. So it mostly got the bones out of its system. Down to 2. The rest of Stanza's turn. We have 4 decks left, rolling the axe blade just to try to get the damage that isn't the poison, and we're going to roll these 2 attack dice. I just need 2 points of damage. Booyah! That's what I'm talking about. You know I'm excited when I let out a good old booyah, baby. Abomination is defeated. That is the end of the battle. We have won. Sorry, George. I'm not even trying it, man. It took too long, man. It's time to move on. That was great. Now, I really want to do that before this die rolls, because if this die rolls, man, yeah, that would have put Abomination back on the battle queue. So it would have been no bueno. But this is done. We broke the immortal. That's what I'm talking about. And we now get our rewards. So encounter success is achieved when Abomination is defeated for the first time. If successful, persistent Abomination Tyrant die is destroyed and will not be used during the final battle with Nobulus. Well, you know, we're not playing Nobulus, so who really cares? But it is what it is. We get 1 trove loot for each of us. 1 and 2. So we've got some trove loot to try to pick. And then we're going to do the 2 training points, and we get another day, so we're up to 5. Love it. Here we go. So how do I want to spend my training points? Flint Tinder might make some sense, although, I mean, Nightshade is just 1 health. I'm really not going too nuts and trying to build that Nightshade here, so I'm not too worried about that. I want to get the throwing knives. Can really do some damage to a non-adjacent baddie, which can be helpful. And I'm gonna get another, let me take the extra decks, like all of that. All right, for Stanza's gonna put this back. Axe blade was awful that round. Let's get another dex, because Duster cannot have more decks than Stanza. That would make 0 sense. And I'll get the River Deep, because it can be a really useful song. And we'll put that there. We now go to the recovery phase. Gonna have to get back to full health with Duster. So Nightshade will not start on the battle mat. We're gonna get back to full strength with Stanza. Put these over here. These were not defeated, so they're just gonna go back on the bottom of the mech pile. And we can try to pick the trove loot. So I'm gonna roll the pick dice for Duster. We need 5 lever. Oh, hello. That will do. So I'm gonna do 3 lever from that. I'm gonna use the force dice. Remember, the gray die is more like to have force than anything. I'm gonna turn that into lever with my special die. So that is 5 lever. Now I'm gonna roll the yellow die, which is more like to have 3 trip. I'm gonna roll that to try to unlock the trip side. I got 1 trip. I can turn it into another thing, but I want it to be trip, just more. So we have 1 of those things unlocked. That will do. We're going to do a lockpicking attempt for Stanza. So I need 4 lever. Man, it's crushing it again. I can re-roll 1. I'll re-roll this one, see if I can't get lever on the force die. I can use that as lever. There we go. Now I can roll for the trip, see if I can't unlock something there. I get a re-roll. What is it? I get +1. I get 4 lever. Just tons of lever, guys. So I just did the first one. I'm also going to use the Fortunate Discovery. Let me see if I can use the luitar strings to my advantage at some point. Maybe get the innate +1. I just think that's just better than the... you know what? Give me the amplifier in case I roll the luitar die really bad once. Then we'll have that. Okay, there is one of the sides of the luitar die that has a 2. So, you know, sometimes you're like, uh-oh, that's a problem. Been rolling that very well today, however, so that's been good to see. This tyrant die can go away. That was all day 5. It is nuts. It is a nutty thing that's in the middle of this. I like it. It just does really lengthen out the adventure. We're going to go to day 6. What's going to happen in day 6? I mean, it can't be nearly as nutty as what just happened in day 5. That would be insane. So we have 7 cards left. I really think I'm going to try to do this on day 7. Again, if you do it on day 7, you only have to deal with 2 5-point baddies. If you do it on a day 8, you have to deal with 3. It's a huge difference in a 2-player game. So we'll see if I feel confident enough. But if I don't try to train Nightshade at all and just really try to boost up Duster, it is one way to try to make this work. So I'm going to roll the D6. Wait, there's 7 left. I'm going to roll the D8. I got a 5. So he missed all the special encounters. Ebonite Doorway would have been super nice, but did not happen. Ebonite Doorway is like a bunch of possible training points, but let's see what happens with hearing voices. Familiar voices call from the forest's entrance. We've been following them for some time now. Instinctively, we continue our haste toward them. In the end, all we discover is a door in the ground and mechs. The voices of our brethren are coming from them. There is like no raft happening in this playthrough at all. Common wisdom states there's strength in numbers, but that doesn't hold true when being herded into a place of the enemy's choosing. How are they imitating gearlocs? One of us wonders aloud as we catch a strong whiff of oil. We hear the whir and clank of hydraulic doors behind us, and now we're in a real pickle. Mech Massacre. So we have 2 options. We can immediately surrender to the bots and proceed to Special Encounter Council Labs Horror Factory. I just freaking did that. So I guess we're not doing that. We're doing the Mech Massacre. Baddie points, add 6 points, including 4 mechs. Yikes. So we're up to 18. The 4 mechs are going to get us down to 6. So we're going to have 1 5-pointer, 1 pointer, and 4 mechs. Play gearlocs on battle map before baddies. Gearlocs must start in one of the 4 center positions of the battle map. If successful, party may find Special Encounter Council Labs. No, we already did that. So, Mech Massacre it is. We are going to have to place ourselves before the baddies. Wow. We have to start in one of the 4 center positions of the battle mat. That is interesting. We're going to go here and here. I think that makes the most sense. We're going to get 5-point baddie, a 1-point baddie, 4 mechs. Don't have surprise or anything. Get 2 training points, 2 more loot, and a day. So that's a nice haul. The 5-point baddie is the other Goblin Artificer. I do not hate that. He comes in lane 1, 4 health, and he's going to roll for his equipment. Last time he had the spyglass. I bet he wishes he brought something different. So we're going to roll this now. He rolls a 1. He gets himself 2 more health. Not terrible. So he's up to 6. He's going to chill right there. The 1-point baddie. Oh, every time, man, the broadcast there. It goes into lane 2 in the range position right next to Duster. Gonna come in there. Only 1 health. Oh, it's nuts. I can't even use Forever Mine on it because hopefully it's gonna be dead. I don't want to deal with more baddies. Ugh, nuts. The first mech to deal with is the Abomination. It has Disruption. We're gonna roll. Where does it go? It goes to 4, which is not great. It only has an any die of a 3 though, so we should be able to avoid getting attacked by it because again, that disruption is brutal. When it happens, it has 3 health and it goes there. Definitely wish it was on the other side. And the 4th baddie to be on the board is going to be the Spider Bot 4.0. Where is this going to go? It's going to go into 5. This one's going to have 2 on it. Spider Bot is a ranged baddie with bleed and attacks the strongest. And I still have my Scraggaroo, so I can make it attack Duster for a while. But this is a really nasty baddie. So, oh, that's his equipment too. His equipment is a 3, so it's attacking with 2 dice. So it's going to go into 5, 3 health, and an extra attack die, and 2 shield. A lot going on with the Spider Bot. That is for sure. All right, I can use that bleed to my advantage though with Stanza. I'm gonna roll the any dice for both Duster and for Stanza. Duster is at full health, so no Nightshade just yet. I don't mind it coming in the middle of this. Hopefully I don't roll a 2 again for Stanza. I rolled a 4 and a 3. I'm gonna move the essential oils to re-roll my any die. Oh, before battle setup. Yeah, I mean, I'm clearly not gonna do a 3. I mean, I want a 5 or a 6. I rolled a 3. I get to re-roll again. It's my second use of it. I rolled a 4. I mean, for real, I'm going to just use it up. Give me a 6. I rolled a 3. Wow. I'm going to get a 6 in the tyrant battle. I know it. I probably should have saved that for the tyrant battle because I don't want to be a 6. I want to be after the Goblin Queen. But that was a garbage series of rolls for my innie. So, wow. Well, at least we're in front of this dude. So the mech in position 4 has a 3. The mech in position 5 has a 2. The broadcaster has a 6. And the goblin artificer has a 5. We are in round 1. First, we are going to go forward with the broadcaster. The broadcaster signals. Of course it does. That is what it does. And it's going to attack. It attacks the weakest. I'm going to have it attack Stanza because I want to make sure the spider bot attacks the strongest, which should be Duster still, hopefully, although the artificer might change that. So let's see if we get a little bit lucky here. So the goblin broadcaster is attacking Stanza. It does 1 damage. It bones out on its defense. Stanza's down to 5 health. Really can't let that guy attack us. He's only rolling 1 die, so disruption is less likely to trigger with the abomination prototype, but it's a problem. All right, the artificer is rolling mischief 2. It would take 2 active dice away. It's a huge problem, but not when it's dead early like it was last time. It's rolling 2 dice against Duster. It does 2 damage. It does mean that now Stanza is the strongest, which is not what I wanted to see for that. Because I do not want Stanza to be bleeding. Stanza's turn. Stanza is going to roll her luitar die. She rolls a 4. We're going to do the Krellin Caviar. At the beginning of her turn, she gains a health. So I did that before I did anything else. So Krellin Caviar is going to be single battle. I got to use this battle because the bleed's going to be too much for Stanza and she's going to get attacked either way. So I'd rather counteract the bleed with the Krellin Caviar. We are going to start playing under the old Self-Free. We're going to get 1 buff HP. We're going to start playing the River Deep, and we're going to start playing Forever Mine. Stanza has 3 more decks. Now, because I have the River Deep in play, before I move, since I do move, I have to subtract 1 of my remaining decks. If I don't move, this won't have any effect. But the River Deep says all units on the mat can only move 1 now this turn. So that's a big deal. I'm also going to use Tar, Sap, and Swine to put an obstacle here before I move. That's not an adjacent position. This is an adjacent position. That will work. No, it's not going to work. I'm not going to do that. It's not going to do what I wanted to do. Could just take 1 attack from the prototype. Duster's just in a really bad spot right now. And I don't like it. I can move with Duster. 3 decks left. I subtract 1. I have 2 left. Now, I'm not going to start the River Deep. So I spent 2 decks. I am going to put this thing out in an adjacent position. And we're going to move 1, 2, and attack. When I played Forever Mine, I'm going to be able to attack with this baddie. I'm going to attack the spider bot. So that is going to roll 1 die against the spider bot. See if we can't eliminate some of what's going on here. 1 damage. It's going to reduce this to 1. Remember, the spider bot doesn't have self-repair. Then the rest of my turn, I still have 4 decks. 1, 2, rolling 2 attack dice against the spider bot. It's only got 3 health total, so got a chance to really do some cool things here. All right, 2 damage. Got through its defenses, and it's only got 2 health left. Duster's turn. Duster has 6 decks. So I don't care about the broadcaster all that much right now. We're going to go 1, 2. So I did use Tar, Sap, and Twine. They're really going to prevent the abomination from getting to me this turn. Duster has 4 decks left. So since the artificer had mischief 2, there's like no point in putting a defense die out. attacking me with 2 dice. I do not have bottled smoke. I could get super unlucky here and Stanza could not make it. I am going to use the throwing knives, I think. I could roll 3 attack dice and use the blade dip. And if I manage to avoid a bones, then the artificer would just die on its next turn. Either way, Nightshade's coming into play next turn, which is super useful. Nightshade can probably take out the broadcaster. That spot's going to be clogged up with the prototype. So Nightshade can actually start digging into the prototype. Give me some options there. Let's try to get lucky with this blade dip, I think. We're going to use the blade dip. It's down to 1. I'm going to roll 3 attack dice and throwing knives. If I manage to not get any bones, Artificer's dead, and I'm going to roll the throwing knives against the spider bot, which I think will make some sense. If I can knock that sucker out. These are my 4 dice. I already moved 2. Again, I still had my full deck, so I did not play the River Deep, which would really kind of jam me up if I was going to move, and I wanted to move so I don't get attacked by the Abomination prototype. So no bones. Oh, baby. So the blade dip works. I do 3 damage to the Artificer, and we get a poison 3 on top. That is a max you can do. That's awesome. What a freaking awesome roll that was. And I do 2 damage to a non-adjacent baddie, 2 damage, and it's super dead. So I wiped out the spider bot. So that's pretty cool. So I kind of wish I didn't use a Crown and Caviar this battle, but I did because I was worried about the bleed. But this mech is defeated. So that is the first open lane. So that's going to go on the new mech that's about to come out. We exhausted the throwing knives. I still have Duster's dagger in case I need it, but obviously I can't make any of the mechs bleed. There is still the 1-point baddie that was going to be summoned by the broadcaster, and we are good shape. The Artificer is about to defeat itself. So Duster is done. I can take this die out. The Abomination prototype is going to move 1, 2. That's as far as it gets. It would have gotten to me if I hadn't put that obstacle there, so we're good there. And now we go to round 2. The next mech is going to come in at the bottom. It is the Mech Swarm. Comes in with 4 health. It comes in with 1 defense die on it. And it's going to go into what position? It goes into position 1. We're in number 1. Nightshade also comes in the battle. Nightshade is going to enter at the top of the inning meter. So it's going to go there, and we'll put it there. Maybe we can start digging into the Abomination prototype. A little bit less scared about getting to disruption. At this point, it's still far from ideal though, but I do have to put Nightshade there because it has to go in a melee position if 1 is open. I think this will work. So Nightshade's going to roll 2 dice against the Abomination prototype. It does 2 damage, so the shield comes off. Remember, it does have self-repair too, so I'm going to want to definitely attack that fairly soon. Done. Next turn, it is going to be the broadcaster. Broadcaster does bring in its last signal 1, and then it's going to attack the weakest. It is attacking Nightshade. Thank you for playing Nightshade. Very sorry to do this to you, but Nightshade is defeated just as quickly as that, but did its job in a sense. So that's done. We go to the Goblin Artificer. 3 poison is enough to defeat it. So that was quick. Thank you, Blade Dip. Really love that consumable. This is going to go on the last mech. We now go to Stanza's turn. All right. Stanza is going to advance under the old self-free. Everyone gains 1 health up to their max. All I'm really doing here is giving 1 health back to Duster. Duster is appreciative. She told me. That's cool. I'm going to advance, use the rest of my focus. Forever mine. So again, I'm maxed out on my focus. My focus is 4. Both of these songs take 2 each to advance. I'm going to take a turn for a 3-point baddie or less, and we're going to do 1, 2, and we're rolling with the Mech Swarm 4 attack dice. Fairly strong. So 4 attack dice against the Abomination prototype. That is sufficient. That's 5 damage. That kills the prototype. So we're going to put this under one of the level 1 baddies that the broadcaster brought in. Not bought in. Broadcaster did not buy anything. It just made our lives difficult for free. That's right. And finally, the rest of Stanza's turn. Do I want to play the Deep River? Seems kind of pointless. So instead, we're going to move forward 1. We have 3 remaining decks because I can advance 2 songs. I moved 1. I'm going to roll the Axe Blade and my 2 attack dice. Again, I cannot poison this sucker, but I sure as heck can get some direct damage on it. Bam, I do 3 damage. I will let it all ride. No, I won't. Let me save the Axe Blade. 1 and down 1, and now Duster has a ton of attack dice to finish off the job. Let's go here. Speaking of Duster, Duster's turn now. Duster is going to roll its 3 attack dice. We'll roll Duster's dagger just in case, and we're going to attack the mech. Oh, the mech should be on the bottom of this inning meter. Gotta give it a turn. Gotta give it a chance, kids. So hopefully it will not have a chance. Actually, just trying to take it out. Maybe should have used that axe blade after all. Bam. So just 2 damage. It does survive, but it's only rolling 1 attack dice, so not a huge deal. And we get this bones. I'm going to save Duster's dagger. Obviously can't make the mech bleed, so that will do. The mech's going to go. It's going to attack the weakest. Duster has 5 health. And Stanza has 6. Oh, Duster also had another dex I didn't use to roll a defense die. I bonesed out on that as well. Of course I did. And now this mech is attacking me. Boom, 1 damage. Gets Duster back to 4. All right, we go to round 3. We're adding 2 baddies. I'll try to remember to add their any dice this time. So the blue is going to be a 1. And the yellow is going to be a 1. It's like white, just different. Last mech is the Mech Darter, self-repair 1 with swap. Seeing a bit of him for sure. It's going to come into what position? It comes into position 3, and it has 3 defense with self-repair 1. Nightshade has already been defeated, so that die is exhausted. The broadcaster is not signaling anymore, but it's still going to attack the weakest. It's going to attack Duster, so it's rolling this 1 attack die, not re-rolling his defense die. It does 1 damage to Duster. Duster's down to 3. All right, Stanza's going to go. Stanza is going to vamp under the old Selfree, and then we're going to advance Forever Mine. Going to use the Forever Mine to attack the Mech Swarm. Attacking with just the 1 die, just needs to do 1 damage. We did it. The Mech Swarm is, oh shoot, Mech Swarm would have repaired 1. My bad. Yikes. So would I still have done that? No, with 1 die, let me eliminate some of this guy's shield. So this is down to 2 shield. I wouldn't have rolled 1 die against that guy. It would have made no sense. Stanza has 5 decks left. Remember, because I vamped that song. So with the 5 remaining decks, we are going to do 2 attack dice, 1 axe blade against this mech. Let's finally get it off the board, and then I can go after this one with a big attack from Duster. Bam. Bones, bones, but bones, bones, bones. Wow. I am just the Bones King. Well, didn't think that was going to happen. Axe Blade comes back in here. 1 damage, gets that shield off, and it's going to keep self-repairing, which is super annoying. Can I do 4 damage to you? Probably. Duster's turn. Duster's going to move. Duster's attacking with 3 attack dice, and we're going to do Duster's dagger. We moved 1. I still have 5 decks left, so I can roll a defense die. Here we go. 4 damage. Not going to use the bleed. The 4 damage is enough to defeat the Mech Darter. Again, with the assist from the broadcaster, which again is what made the most sense. We put the blue under the 1-point baddie. We have a defend 2 in place now. So that makes you feel better about Duster's likelihood of surviving all of this. This can come off. This can come off. I should have added another baddie, right? Yeah, I should have added another baddie before we started this round. It wouldn't have changed anything unless it was like Hardy. So yeah, we have the Kobold Collector would have come in with 3 health. It would have come in a melee position. 3 was full with Stanza. The Collector would have come in. Collector has equipment. It rolled a 5, so it just increases the any die. It doesn't matter. It still comes in at the bottom. So this would go here. Yeah, sorry about that. So Duster already went, did its job. What's next? The Mech Swarm is going to self-repair 1. It's only attacking with 1 die. It's attacking Stanza. 1 damage. Takes off the buff HP. Totally overkill with health for Stanza here. And now the Cobalt Collector is going to go 1, 2. It's rolling 1 defense die, 1 attack die against Duster. It gets a defense. It does 1 damage, which makes the shield go from a 2 to a 1. All right, round 4. Now we're going to get our last baddie on the mat. It is the Plated Kobold with 3 health. This is going to come in lane 1 melee. That's full, so lane 2 melee is open, and that will go there. First, the Broadcaster attacking the weakest, so still attacking Stanza, rolling the 1 attack die. It's a 1. The defense die comes out. Stanza. Now it's attacking Duster. I'm not sure if I said Duster or Stanza anymore. It's been kind of a long day. So I have to vamp Forever Mind. It doesn't have any more stanzas to play. I am going to advance though and start again under the old self-free, which gives me 1 buff HP. Stanza is going to go ahead and attack the Mech Swarm with 2 attack dice and the Axe Blade just in case. I just need 2 damage. Can I please finally put an end to this sucker? Yes, and I actually didn't roll bones with the Axe Blade for once, but I'm not going to use it because I don't need it. So the 2 attack dice, defense comes off. This mech is toast. This comes out. Systematically need to end these dudes. The mechs are obviously going to be the hardest because they do not get affected by fatigue. Unlike the rest of these suckers, we're going to go to Duster's turn. Duster is attacking the Cobalt Collector with 3 dice, the dagger, and we're going to roll a defense die. I have 1 dex left, but nothing to roll. I haven't used this power cell yet, which is good. I'm going to save it. So I do 1, 2, 3 damage. The shield comes off, 2 more damage, and I add a bleed effect. So I exhaust that die, add the bleed effect, which is crazy. I haven't used this yet this game, but it's obviously been a lot of mechs, so haven't really had a chance to do the bleed. We are now done with Duster's turn. On the Cobalt Collector's turn, it's going to take a damage because of the poison. So it's toast, joins its friends over there in the losers pile. And now we have the Plated Cobalt. Plated Cobalt's going to move forward 1. It's doing an attack and a defend die. It does 1 damage. I'm going to take it out of the buff HP. It boneses on its defense, and that's fine. We go to round 5. Not even going to worry with the Broadcaster. Is just going to die in fatigue, right? Makes no sense. So Broadcaster is attacking Stanza, or Broadcaster is attacking Duster. I think I keep saying Stanza. Rolled 1 damage. Duster is down to 2 health. We're going to go with Stanza. Stanza is going to advance under the old self-free, give a health back to Duster. And Krellin Caviar is a nothing for me this turn. We're going to advance Forever Mine. The Broadcaster is going to attack the Plated Kobold with 1 attack die. That does dig into the Hardy. And then Stanza on her own turn is going to attack the Plated Kobold. I'm going to roll these 4 dice. We have 4 decks left. And I bones out with the Axe Blade because of course I did, but at least we do 1 damage to the Plated Kobold and we get a defense die of 2. And then finally, Duster is going to move over and roll 3 attack dice and a defense die. And we get this. We are 1 bones away from an 8+1 because that's how I roll. But the Plated Kobold is super dead thanks to 2 turns that were effectively both on Stanza's turn, which is nuts, and then 1 turn from Duster. We get to the next round. It is a fatigue round. Everything takes 1 damage. So 1 damage, 1 damage. Broadcaster is toast. So he survived the whole thing. What a guy. Really proud of his resilience, but sorry dude, wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. Broadcast some more. Stanza has 5 health. Krellin Caviar is used up. That was a little bit of a waste of that, but that was super fun. I'm successful. I may do the special encounter. Nope, we're good. we're good. We're going to try to get this thing done next round. Hopefully we get some good loot just to make that happen. So 2 training points. Gonna put Nightshade back. I'm gonna put Throwing Knives back. I'm gonna put Duster's Dagger back. I'm gonna take a health. I really hate this last scenario. And I'm gonna take Bottled Smoke because it can come in huge. All of these bones go out. I already had both my consumables. I could have tried to roll the blade dip again, but there was really no point. It's already at a 1. Most of this die is just 1 anyway. So I think it's 4. No, I guess it's half and half. Yeah, let me do that. Then I had those bones in my last turn. I would have just taken that out and re-rolled this, try to get 2. Nope, just rolled 1 anyway. So fine. We are going to put the luitar die back. That didn't do anything. 10, 7, shields out. What am I taking? Wow. 6 decks is not a lot. We get the Breaking of Daelore. Do like the charge swing. I just don't think it's going to make much sense. I want to get health. I want to get dex. It's a lot of songs. I will get dex just because of all those songs. We can get 2 more loot. Duster gets the hunting net. It's absolute garbage for the last round, and then sleeping darts before battle reduce your battle queue by 2. That could work, I guess. Macalapesh pipe, roll a d6, apply result to any lock equal or less value that any gearloc is working on, bypass that lock for free. And huckleberries, heal an adjacent gearloc for 4 or heal yourself for 3. That could come in handy as well. You go to the recovery phase. Duster's going to heal to full health, so she gets up to 7. And Stanza's going to heal to full health. She's going to get to 6. We are going to do the Trove loot. Remember, we're at the first level of both of these. Duster's going to try to open up its loot. I need 3 trip. Did not get trip since it was my first attempt. I do get a chance to roll again. 3 trip, beautiful. I need 2 force. I can use this lever as force. I can lose this lever as force. It's fine. So we do have Duster's Trove loot. What is it? It's a tackle box, backup plan expansion, and exhaust any one of your dice, usable once per battle, and it's 2 bones. That actually really could be helpful, especially with Duster's Dagger and Bottled Smoke. So I really like that. Now we're trying to open up the Trove loot for Stanza. I need a 2 trip. I have a reroll. I'm going to reroll this die. I can use this lever as trips. That will work. And now I just need 2 force. I can reroll. I'm going to reroll this die. I just need 2 force. I got 3 force. Awesome. Don't even need the Macalapesh pipe. We get the fog machine, backup plan extension, reduce your targets any by up to 2 spots in the meter, adjust at the end of the round. That's fine. Great. I am going to put these lockpick dice over there. Interesting loot. Gonna go to day 7, and it is time. If I can reduce the battle queue by 2, I think I give myself 2 chances. If it doesn't go well, I still have the sleeping darts, and I can get myself with only 2 5-point baddies 2 times in a row. That seems like a no-brainer, kids. All right, let's do it. We got 6. We're going to take advantage of it. On day 7, we are going to try it. So we get to roll 1, see what it is, but we're going to choose the Tyrant encounter. I promise you that. So it's a 2. What is it? Beach bums, blah, blah, blah. More mechs. I mean, it's 2 more points. Nope. Free the raft. Sorry. It would have been fun. I would have liked to go on the raft in this playthrough. Just wasn't in the cards. So instead of doing this, I'm going to discard it. And we are going to go ahead with the Tyrant encounter. Cool. The Goblin Queen. What do we got? Bombs save the queen. Baddie points is a total of 14. I'm going to use the sleeping darts to make that a 12. So we're going to get 2 5-point baddies and 2 1-point baddies, and it's all she wrote. And if it's a broadcaster again, I'm going to lose my mind. I don't think that's possible because I think they're both in the defeated baddie stack, but I don't know, man. They keep popping up. So we put the Goblin Queen on lane 3. She's going to have the lane 3 marker, and she's going to be in the ranged position in lane 3. We have an obstacle that is indestructible here. We have an obstacle that is indestructible here. We also need to search the 5-point baddie stack for this dude. It is the Goblin Queen's Guard. Goblin Queen's Guard comes in with 6 points. It does not get a lane marker nor in any die. I actually am going to use this die because the Goblin Queen's Guard is going to have a lot of turns. It has 1 turn after everybody else's turn. It's pretty sick. So don't worry about the 3 any. But what it's going to do is at everyone's turn, it's going to move back and forth, and it always displaces any unit that's in its way. And you cannot take the last point of damage off the Goblin Queen as long as the guard is still in play. The 5-point baddies we're dealing with right now is a Goblin Demolitionist, which isn't great. Could do better, could do worse. It's going to be in lane 1 with 6 points, and it's a ranged baddie. All right, I have to find a way to deal with that. I cannot use the hunting net because I got it too late. Remove a 1 or 5-point baddie for the current battle. This battle must be defeated prior to the tyrant battle, so I can't use this in the tyrant battle, I assume. All right, Dragon Grounder. It only saving grace of the Dragon Grounder is that it is a melee baddie, but it is pretty bad. It's got 7 health, weakened 2. Lots of things to not love about the Dragon Grounder. Attacking with 3 dice, has 2 defense dice, etc., etc. And then finally, we have a 1-point baddie. It is the Goblin Devastator. Might be able to use this to our advantage. So it's going to have the lane 4 marker. It would come into a melee position. Well, all the melee positions across the board are filled. So we go to the range positions. 1 is full, so we're just going to go right on 2. We are going to start with Duster on the battle mat. Well, let me see what our initiatives are, right? That would make a little bit more sense, Greg.
Yeah, I think so too. All right.
Good idea. So this is a 3. This is a 5 for the Goblin Queen. I really don't want Duster to be in front of her, but I was very aggressive in using what I used last time. You know what? I'm going to trade loot. I'm going to trade this and this. The green baddie is the Devastator. Devastator comes in with a 4. So that's going to go after the Goblin Queen. And then we have the purple baddie, which is the Dragon Grounder, comes in with a 5, which is going to be before the Goblin Queen because the Goblin Queen is in lane 3 and the Dragon Grounder is in lane 2. I think that's how that works. Again, not exactly sure. Seems like that's what makes the most sense to me based on the rest of the rules that we know. The Tyrant Queen's die is nasty, 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 and nasty. Now, again, you can't take the last point of damage off of her as long as the Goblin Queen's guard is still in play. So what she does is half of her die will bring the guard back into play exactly where he is. This is considered position A. This is considered position B. If you defeat the guard and then the Goblin Queen rolls this die, well, guess what? Guard comes back right there, displacing any unit to the closest adjacent unit. The closest adjacent unit, I do believe, can include basically swapping. So say the guard moved here. I think we could swap the dragon here. Doesn't say that explicitly in the rules, but I don't think you always have to push it out of the way somewhere else. I think you can just displace it to the closest adjacent place. And again, adjacency is orthogonal. If all the orthogonal locations are full, then I guess you would start going diagonal as well. But again, not exactly clear with all the rules here. The other half of this die is what is called the time bomb. Now, the time bomb, the most annoying thing about it, it has to go on the strongest unit. Now, if the strongest unit is already gone, well, you got a problem. I really don't understand why the design didn't include the bomb going off at the beginning of the Tyrant Queen's next turn to at least give units a chance to get the heck out of the way, especially if you're going to put a 6 as one of the options. 6 damage is absurd. All right. It's just absolutely absurd. Now, it's not true damage, but for real, it's still bananas. And again, the time bomb doesn't have a targeting requirement. You know, I could have bottled smoke over here with Duster so no one else would target it, but then this thing can still come on and give me 6 damage if my any midi was above the Goblin Queen. But I'm not bitter, trust me, just a little bit. All right, so there's a 4 and a 2 as well. The 2 and a 4 is fine. I'm good with that. The 6 is brutal. And if you just killed the Goblin Queen's guard, well, obviously the bringing that sucker back is super bad, especially when the Goblin Queen is like, I don't know, down to 1 or 2 health, like may have happened to me multiple times. Again, not bitter, just a little. Oh, also the Goblin Queen has Mischief 1 because of course she does, and she's a ranged baddie and she's attacking multiple people. So that combination is really nasty. Let's do this. Roll the any dice. Of course, I rolled the 5, so we are before the Goblin Queen. I couldn't roll 1 5 last time. And Stanza rolls that awesome 2 again. That is a thing that Stanza does. Now, Stanza's first. We're going here, and we're going to try to be untargetable for a turn. I'm sorry, the Duster. Duster, Stanza. I mean, they're not even sisters. If it was Boomer, I'd understand more, but it is what it is, guys. We're going to put Stanza here so as to not get it whacked by this dragon. And I think that will make some sense. This Tyrant battle, I'm not going to lie, I do find it not all that fun, and a lot of it is that Tyrant die. I don't know, especially I spent the longest day 5 ever defeating the abomination. So I'm like, this feels a little bit anticlimactic. It's also just super impossible. And you're so reliant on that tyrant die in a way that I just don't find you normally are with tyrants. And I just find it a little bit too punishing. However, we do have a chance. I do like blitzing this at day 7. And I'm going to start with Duster. All I want to do right now is make the Goblin Queen's guard bleed and make myself untargetable. And the way I can do that is going to be with Duster's Dagger and Bottled Smoke. And hopefully we get this tackle box at some point to get one of those 2 back, probably Duster's Dagger. I'm also going to roll the throwing knives because I do want to make sure that the Devastator has less than full health. And then I can use a turn with Stanza to make the Devastator just blow itself up and maybe get some extra damage to help me out a little bit here, right? So I'm going to roll these 2 dice for sure. I'm going to roll this die for sure. I don't love using the throwing knives on the Devastator when it could just easily take some points off the Goblin Queen. And again, the ultimate goal here is to defeat the Goblin Queen, but I think this makes the most sense. I'm going to roll 1 defense die, especially since I will be untargetable. And I have 2 attack dice that I can roll as well. And the cool thing about all this is I have the power cell, so I can reroll any 2 dice, and I will be able to do it twice in case I get really unlucky and start bonesing out here. All right, so I'm going to roll these 6 dice. I am attacking the Goblin Queen's guard. What did I get? Awesome. Awesome. Don't even need to use a power cell. We get the throwing knife, so I'm going to do 2 damage to the Devastator. I rolled 0 bones, so not at all close to using this tackle box thing, but we'll see if that changes. I get 1 shield, doing 2 damage to the Goblin Queen's guard. He's down to 4. I'm going to use the Bottled Smoke. I am now untargetable with the guard going back and forth. That's pretty important. You know what? I'm not going to do any damage to the Goblin Queen's guard other than the bleed. I do have to apply all of Duster's Dagger though, and that already does 2 damage and the bleed. So I did 2 damage. I didn't. Oh, I actually did. That is right. I cannot choose to apply the bleed and not the 2 damage from Duster's Dagger. So I do want the Goblin Queen's guard to be around for a little bit, and you'll see why as this unfolds. So very, very nice start to how this went. So hopefully we can continue that. Now the Goblin Queen's guard on its turn is going to lose a damage because it's bleeding, and then it's going to move from A to B. I can move the dragon in B to the closest adjacent spot. I'm going to push it right back here. Do not want it running around loose down here and threatening Stanza. We don't have that much leeway here. And at some point I'm going to want to clear out a path to the Goblin Queen. But I think for now, let's keep that dragon safe. After that turn, the Goblin Queen's guard is going to bleed again, down to 2 health, and they're going to change places again. Nice little dance. Remember, that was the dragon's turn. The dragon couldn't do anything because it could not target me, right? And weaken, its skill does require a target. And I am untargetable because I am the Mounted Duster. That's right. We're going to go to the Goblin Queen's turn. The Goblin Queen is going to roll her tyrant die. Please don't roll a bomb 6. Really hate this tyrant die. It's going to roll the tyrant die. It's going to roll 1 defense, 1 attack, and it's going to attack Stanza first. Again, it's only rolling the tyrant die and the defense die once, and then it will roll an attack die against any number of targets. However, it has 2 targets, but it cannot target Duster. So this is all going against Stanza. However, if it rolls the bomb again, it goes on the strongest unit, which right now is Duster. So maybe I should have rethought getting Duster up to 7 here. What do we roll? All right, bomb 4. That goes on top of me. Shield 1 damage to Stanza. I'll take a bomb 4. It's when we get to the bomb 6 territory that is really just utter bananas. At the end of the Goblin Queen's turn, the guard's going to go again. And I think at this time I do want to open up that lane. You know what? I could have started Stanza here. That changes nothing. If I had done all the analysis, if I did more analysis than I did, I would have realized that that is what's going to make the most sense. The Goblin Queen's Guard does bleed again. Again, these are all additional turns, and I'm actually going to push the dragon out here now. The Devastator is going to go. At the end of its movement, it's just going to blow up. Now, it doesn't actually move because it had no path, but I still believe that's the moment when it detonates after the movement phase. Now the Goblin Queen's Guard is out. So could come back in depending on what roll I get on the timer die next turn. And we managed to get 2 damage onto this Goblin Demolitionist, which makes me happy. The first available lane marker would be that of the Devastator. Oh, the Goblin Queen's Guard also did signal 1. And if it comes back, it will signal 1 again. So don't want to forget about that. So Devastator is out. The Demolitionist is going to attack just Stanza. It's rolling 2 attack dice. It's rolling 1 defend die. There's Mischief 1. There's nothing in Stanza's thing. The Mischief really messes with Stanza because of all her active songs. So that's going to be something we need to try to keep track of here. But rolling these 3 dice is get 1 shield, and it does hit Stanza for 3 damage. Stanza is down to 2 health just like that. Stanza's turn. She's going to start a couple of songs here, and hopefully we can start knocking this dragon down to size. So Stanza's going to start breaking up Daelore. Oh wait, on the dragon on its turn, it should have rolled 2 defense dice, 3 shield. That's a problem. But this too shall pass. So I'm going to do the breaking of Daelore as for one of my decks that immediately is going to take a health away from the dragon. I'm going to start Under the Old Self-Free. Gives me a buff HP. Oh, I have to roll the luitar die. Oops. Every time. All right, 3 focus. I don't think it makes sense to start Forever Mine for the sole reason that there's no 1-point baddie on the mat because the Devastator already blew itself up. So I have 7 decks. I played 2 songs. I have 5 decks left. I'm going to roll the Axe Blade. I'm going to roll the Amplifier. I'm going to roll 2 attack dice and 1 defend die. The defend die, if nothing else, is going to give me additional options on what to take out for Mischief. Because if I can keep the breaking of Daelore out there, that would be really nice, which might be another reason to start Forever Mine. Yeah, let me start Forever Mine, because then if I can survive to round 3, then I'll be able to control a 5-point baddie, and that could be pretty big. I don't know if anything's going to be on the mat, though. Not great. No, I think I want that extra dex. Problem is, if I bones out with the defense die, then we got a problem. If I get 2 bones, though, I can use the fog machine, and I can move one of these baddies below me. I can move the demolitionist below me. Yeah, I think this is what I want to roll. So attacking the grounder, a big roll here would be very nice. All right, we got 3 more focus. Like to see that. We got 2 shield. I do 2 damage. All it does is take away the defense. I do another damage, takes away the defense, and we put a poison 2 on the grounder. Thank you, Axe Blade, for not bonesing out for once. Nice. End of the round. There is 1 open lane, so we get another 1-point baddie. It is the Cobalt Collector. Cobalt Collector is going to come in with some equipment. It's going to have an additional 2 health, so it has 5 health. It's going to go in a melee spot in lane 3. That's full. Instead, it's going to go to the melee spot in lane 1. Oh, it's so bad. That is unfortunate. Beginning of the round, 4 damage to Duster. Duster's down to 4. 2 damage to every adjacent spot, so 2 and 2. Duster loses the untargetable die, and I gotta be careful that I don't get stuck. And if the guard comes back, the guard's just gonna attack me multiple times, which would be super bad. Duster is gonna use the Huckleberries to heal itself for 3 health. So we should have a Nightshade sighting. We have our 6 XP. Oh, by the way, we had a shield, so it's not true damage when that thing blows up. So I am actually at full health. Might not have a Nightshade sighting. That 1-point baddie getting in my way is not good. Didn't even factor that in. Did not even factor that in. Shoot. So what's happening with this dragon? The dragon's going to take 2 damage right off the bat because of its poison. We probably want to kill that. I think that will make the most sense. Again, it is round 2. So we're going to go 1, 2. I have 4 more decks, rolling 2 attack dice. a defend die. We're just at the mercy of this tyrant die, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's so stupid. Yep, that's all I can roll. It is what it is. I'll roll 3 attack dice, right? Because I moved 2. I have 4 decks left. So 3 attack dice, 1 defend die, a couple of bones might not be the worst idea. So 1 bones, 2 shield, which isn't gonna do much. By the way, this will come in here before I forget that. We do 2 damage to that dude with all the mischief. That defense die. I mean, I'm tempted to use a power cell and try to roll a bones, but 2/3 of the time it's just an outer waste. I'm trying to use a tackle box to potentially get something here, but we're done there and very, very targetable. We're now gonna go to the Dragon Grounder's turn. The Dragon Grounder takes 2 poison. Thank you, Axeblade. Dragon Grounder's deceased. This die will come out. And now we go to the Goblin Queen's turn. Goblin Queen is rolling her Tyrant die. And this die, honestly, it might not be the worst thing for the guard to come back instead of a bomb. I'm very all over the place about this. This really jammed me up. I was planning to go in there and try to kill this dude and just didn't work out. So rolling these dice, the guard does come back. 1 damage to Stanza. We're just going to take the buff HP off. I will exhaust the defense die, obviously. Guard is back in the house with 6 health. I displace the Kobold Collector. At the end of the Goblin Queen's turn, the guard's going to actually just immediately resume its turns. It's going to push the Kobold Collector up there, and it's going to roll 1 defense die. It gives itself a defense of 2. It also signals again. After that, a ranged baddie rolling 2 dice. Oh, by the way, the Goblin Queen needs to attack Stanza. This comes out. Boneses. The Demolitionist is attacking. Oh, man, I think Stanza's going to not be long for this world. Forget this. I had the 2 shield here. Give me that buff HP back. I would have exhausted the breaking of Daelore, and then I could have absorbed that 1 damage here. Now the Demolitionist is attacking Stanza. We have to exhaust another die. I don't want to give health back to the Demolitionist. That's problematic. So we're going to exhaust that song. Demolitionist is rolling 2 attack dice. Again, not re-rolling a defense dice. So 2 attack dice against Stanza. Oh, 3 damage. Buff HP out. The shield's out. Stanza has 1 health left. Oh, it's not good. After that turn, guard moves. Stanza's turn. I mean, if I had a path to this dude, I would attack the Demolitionist. I mean, that's the biggest threat to Duster. Speaking of Duster, she gets attacked by 2. It's a 1/1. 2 damage to Duster. Stanza is going to have to... I don't know if I try to kill the Kobold Collector. I mean, we could do a lot worse with these 1-point baddies here. I think we maybe go for the guard again. Wish I could do something to that dude, though. The super problem. If I knocked out the Collector, it would open the door for Nightshade to go in and do some damage to that thing. So let me start Forever Mine. I'm going to take a turn for the Kobold Collector. The Kobold Collector is attacking the Demolitionist right where it is. I think that makes the most sense. Try to get that shield down so Nightshade can have a really clean shot. So attacking with 1 die. 1 damage, take that shield off. Now, with the rest of my 6 decks of Stanza, Stanza's going to go 1, 2, and Stanza is going to roll 2 dice and a defend die against the guard, because I don't think we're going to be lucky enough to knock out that Kobold Collector. I kind of wish I could, though. It's going to block the Demolitionist. Ah, shoot. If I could kill the Kobold Collector, the guard would move there at the end of this turn, then I would have a clean shot with Nightshade. I think I try to get lucky and go for a 3 attack on the Kobold Collector. That is really my best shot here, just because of the guard's movement. So rolling these 3 dice. Oh, 4 damage. Oh, Stanza. Stanza. Thank you for showing up. So the Kobold Collector is out. Ah, no. I can't do that because we're bringing in another dude, and that dude would invariably be a melee baddie, which would go on lane 1 because there's not that many ranged baddies in the stack. Strategically, the only thing that made sense is for me to attack this. The roll stands. I'm still actually just rolling 2 dice. I could do anything about that. This signal crap is garbage. You're just not giving any of the gearlocs a chance to get to the queen. If you're not a ranged gearloc, I just don't know how you pull this off. I really don't. Yeah, I got to do that against the guard. End of my turn. The guard's going to move. It's attacking Duster. It's going to have poison and all that good stuff. Rolling these 3 attack dice to 1 defend die. Oh, how do I keep rolling a freaking 2 for the guard, man? So 2 more shields for the guard. And Stanza is out. All this stuff is exhausted. Bye, Stanza. We love you. At the end of that turn, now the Cobalt Collector can't get anywhere to attack, so its turn is over. At the end of that turn, the guard moves back. And that math, the fact that the guard was going to move back and now block off the Demolitionist, was why I was considering doing something different and trying to kill the Collector, but then we knew we were having a 1-point baddie. Speaking of which, we have a 1-point baddie anyway, because we already killed we killed the grounder. Does that change things? So I knew I was putting a 1-point baddie on the mat anyway. I think it does. Yeah, let's put this guy's health back. I already had a 1-point baddie coming in anyways. They'll do my original plan. We kill the Collector. Sorry about that. And now we have nothing else in the baddie queue. I think there's some benefit to that. And the guard would have been back here because it would have been 1 less turn. Now we have 2 1-point baddies coming in. We have Duster coming in, and let's see where they get placed. The first one is going to be with the lane 2 marker. Oh, the Dragon Biddy would go in the melee position in lane 2. It can't fit, so it's going to go in the melee position in lane 1. 1 attack die, weaken 1. The next and last one is the Goblin Mutant. Goes in the melee position in lane 4. That's full, so all the melee positions are full, so it's going to go in the lane 2 range position. Make sure that's back to a 2, because that's all the guard keeps rolling. I guess it is a guard after all. Nightshade is going to try to kill this Dragon Biddy. So Nightshade's going to go there, but I mean Duster's just going to get whacked. Maybe. I'm going to roll that bomb eventually, and it's just going to be all over. But let's play it out. So Nightshade's going to roll 2 dice against the Dragon Biddy. 3 damage. Dragon Biddy is dead. Thank you, Nightshade. The guard's going to move over. He's going to attack Nightshade with 3 attack dice and a defend die. Bam. Nightshade is super. Oh, it rolled a 2. Anyway, I should have re-rolled the defend die because there are no more. Nightshade is out. Duster, I think, should try to kill the guard with poison. And it would take 2 turns for it, but I think it makes some sense. But we still got that Demolitionist. So Duster's going to move 1, 2, has 4 decks left. Duster's going to roll 3 attack dice. It's going to exhaust the blade dip and roll a defend die, mostly to try to get some bones. All right. Didn't get a bones. We got a shield. The blade dip's effective. I do 4 damage to the Goblin Queen's guard. So this 2 shield comes off. This comes off. Poison 3. Man, I really love the blade dip. Fortunately, it's not gonna matter. Poison 3 it is. And the Duster's turn, the guard moves. It takes 3 damage because of the poison. We now go to Goblin Queen's turn. She's gonna roll 1 attack die against Duster. Reroll the tyrant die. Don't give me a bomb, please. All right, the guard would come back. Guard's already on the board. This would have come out beforehand because of mischief. So I take 1 damage. The Goblin Queen's guard goes again. Poison kills it. It should have re-rolled a defense die in its turn. It would have been 1. Doesn't matter. Poison's true damage. That's out. And now the Demolitionist is rolling 2 attack dice. 1 defend die against Duster. Bones would be nice. 2 damage and a shield. Duster's down to 2 health. You know what? Let me use the power cell on Duster's turn just to try to get a bones. I did get a bones. And then I would use my backup plan with tackle box to get bottled smoke back. I think that's the only way I have a chance here. Sorry about that revisionist history. Again, just trying to think about this strategically. So that turns over. This Dragon Biddy was killed, which is this die. And now we have the Goblin Mutant moving 1, 2, attacking with 1 attack die. Does 1 damage. Duster is down to 1 health. The problem with all that is the reality is Duster can't survive even with the bottled smoke. And the reason why is that tyrant die. It's just so punishing. that we're not going to really be able to do anything here. But we're going to go to round 4 anyway. Duster's going to move forward. It has 5 deck slots. We're rolling the bottled smoke. We're rolling the 3 attack dice, and we're rolling 1 defend die. Let's mess this dude up. All right. 4 damage and a bones. The bottled smoke works. 4 damage is 1 away from doing what I needed to do. I'm going to make myself untargetable. I think it makes sense to use the power cell and try to roll a 2. I mean, that's a low percentages, Greg. The tyrant dies is super bad. So we're just going to do 4 damage. We're going to get this dude down to 1 health. Bows are kind of useless without Nightshade. Nah, I got to use the power cell. I'm going to reroll the 2 1 attacks. I need to try to kill this thing because if it's not dead, I mean, I really have no chance anyway, I don't think, but this is the only way I really have any chance. I still did 2 damage, so it is what it is. So that's done. The Goblin Queen is just going to roll a tyrant die. It doesn't have an attack die because it has no one to target. And it's bomb 6. All right. Well, I'm not replaying this. It was a valiant effort. I'll tell you what, the one time I beat this tyrant, I had the harpoon pistol and I started here and I had Nightshade start here and I rolled really good innie dies and I actually moved this very enemy from there and I moved it there and I killed it before it had a turn. That range attack with 2 attack dice versus multiple targets, you just can't survive long enough when that's on the mat. And then once I was able to do that, then I changed everything. I had like 2 5-point baddies left, but they were both melee. I was able to poison the guard. We took care of the level 1 baddies. It is what it is. This is a tough matchup with Duster and Stanza. Neither of them have enough ranged skills to really make you feel like you have much of a chance. I did have a build with Stanza where I was using charged swing to pretty good efficacy, but it's just tough. Breaking up Daelore has a lot less impact in this scenario. There's just a lot of things about this scenario that are really hard to make work with these 2 gearlocs in my experience. And I'd love to see more strategy discussion about this in the comments. If you have different ideas about how this has come together for you, it just doesn't work for me. You know, Nightshade, even if you do a full blown, you know, Killer Instinct Alpha Wolf Nightshade where it has like 4 or 5 HP and it has 4 attack dice. The problem is the positioning of this specific scenario is so ridiculous. And other than getting super lucky with the Tyrant die, I just don't see how it comes together. I don't love the fact that this whole Tyrant scenario comes down to what do you roll with the 1 die. It just makes this die way too powerful in my experience. And that could just be me being a little bitter. But I will say, you know, being able to kill the Abomination, again, that felt like endgame. I almost wish it was something in the adventure. It's like, well, your adventure got changed. If you're going to go down this wild goose chase, here you go, replace the tyrant, whatever. Instead, they have the thing where you can replace yourself as the Abomination, which that's just not a thing I wanted to do on this video, especially. It just feels like, as I said earlier, a little anticlimactic. You do all the stuff, you kill the Abomination, and now it's like, okay, now can you level up to go through this really absurd final tyrant battle, which again, I just don't really enjoy this one. Now, I was a little bit loosey-goosey with my loot, just trying to survive my earlier challenges. Obviously the Krell and Caviar, I used them and I really didn't need to. I just thought that scenario was going to play out very differently than it did, but I don't think that matters. I mean, Stanza got walled pretty handily. I do think the loot I pulled right before this last day was kind of garbage. The hunting net, useless going into the tyrant battle. The Calapash pipe, also fairly useless going into the tyrant battle. I could have used something better. I mean, even the Trove loot, the Fog Machine never really clicked. The Black Pearl would have been way better. Catapult could have been fun. I guess the Trove loot isn't all that great. There's only a couple that I think would have been really, really helpful. I don't know. It's disappointing. It's kind of a dud of an ending, but hopefully the rest of this was enjoyable. And thanks again to Michael Wright for giving me this patron challenge. I do have 2 more days. Honestly, I'm depleted on loot. I just don't see a world where this happens. My blade dip is depleted. I don't see a world where with these builds, I can make this tyrant battle work. So I'm going to save you that time and energy of watching that. We'll be back. I'm going to do a bit more true solo playthroughs. I do want to get back to the original gearlocs and start taking on some of the longer adventure baddies. and I can just get a whole lot more done in a shorter amount of time by sticking true solo. And it still really is the more enjoyable way for me personally in how I experience this game, but totally get why people dig the two gearlocs. There is something to be said about the tyrant battles feeling really hard. You know, when you add the battle queue, I get it. For me, you know, I guess especially playing on legendary, I'm okay with the tyrant battles being a little bit nerfed. I do wish some of them were nerfed less than they were. Some of them feel a little bit silly in how easy they made them. I mean, they could have easily said, hey, party of one, instead of ignoring the baddie queue, just make it half baddie queue, right? There's other things they could have done. I mean, there are just design decisions upon design decisions in this game that just make me scratch my head. But you know, it is what it is, and there's enough in this game that I really love, and really love how it comes together. And sometimes it just provides a bit more of a mixed playing experience than I think is ideal for a lot of my favorite games. But if you can accept that, this game is really, really tremendous. And obviously there's a reason why it's so beloved by so many people who just are drawn to the wackiness and the characters and the strong world building that kind of goes into all of it. I am yammering. Now, if you want to see what's coming up next in Solo Playthroughs Land, you can go on my Patreon page. There's a link in the description below. I put a schedule up the week before every new month to give you a sense of what's coming up in the month to come. So you can go check that out. That is a public post. If for every reason it is not public, please let me know and I will fix that. Every once in a while, I forget to change the settings on that individual post. Even without going there, you know what you can expect from me. More Spirit Island, more Maze Knight, more Too Many Bones. I got some Zeds coming down the pipe, a couple new games I want to get on the channel before the end of the year. Yes, end of the year. Can you freaking believe it? This year has kind of flown by. Thanks as always for your support. Keep bringing the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. They really all help me as I continue to try to make this place bigger and better for all of us. And until next time, whenever that is, happy gaming.